Welcome, one and all, to yet another episode of HYUK TV. It's a cross-ideological space where we come together to talk about issues both political and cultural, from the silly to the serious. Today, we are trying something different for you all. We are doing Dev versus the World. So it's a bit different than the format I normally host. And let me kind of just tell you what the skinny is before we let Dev introduce himself and we kick things off. So we're going to have a slowly escalating panel. And what I mean by that is we'll start with Admiral Gibbs and Radical Coder, who wanted first crack at Dev. They get a little pride of place here. And they'll take Dev to task on their issues. As it winds down, we'll bring in more people and slowly increase the number of people who are gangbanging Dev, okay? And that's going to be the format. So if you want in on this, okay, if you want to take him
Why
to
did you want to do this again, Wick?
Look, if you want to take him to task, now's your chance. I placed the link in the YouTube chat. You click on that link, you accept the rules, you jump backstage, you get in line, and we'll just kind of go with it. But first, before we do any of that, I want to give a chance for Dev to tell people who he is, what he does, and why you should care. Go ahead.
I am Dev. I make political videos, sometimes video game videos. You know, you. If you're here, you probably know me. I've been on Wick a bunch of times.
That's all absolutely true. He's graciously, and thank you for agreeing to this. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be interesting. And I guess we'll just start by allowing, actually, can you give us like some of your hottest takes before we begin, just to kind of let people know what they might want to fight, and then we'll give it to Radical Coder and Admiral Gibbs to have their issues with you. But go ahead.
My hottest takes? Here's the thing. I don't really consider any of my takes hot.
Well, I guess let me ask you this then. So when you were calling in on a Destiny panel the other day, last week, I believe, I asked you a question. I asked you that if Trump pardons himself so that he is unable to be prosecuted for his alleged crimes, I asked you if he would become a legal target for violence, or people would be justified in doing violence
legal.
against him.
It wouldn't be legal, but it would be moral, yes.
You would think it would be morally justified to do violence again. I think that's a pretty hot take, and we can start with that.
Really? Okay.
That's an absolutely hot take, that because he pardons himself, that people would be morally justified in killing him. That's a hot take, Dev. You understand that, right?
Well, I think it's a correct take, though. I think if you've subverted law and order to the point that you're just letting yourself all off the hook for all your fucking crimes, yeah, we are now beyond the bounds of law and constitutions in order to be able to do the right thing.
So if someone gets away with, say, I don't know, tax fraud, do you think that someone is justified in killing them?
No. I think it's categorically different when you're in power.
Okay. Fair enough. We're going to get to it, though. So, gang, come on in, jump backstage. I'm sure he'll have other hot takes that he'll be giving throughout the night. Let's start with Admiral Gibbs. Admiral Gibbs, you want to tell people who you are and what your issue is with Mr. Dev here?
Yeah, I'm Admiral Gibbs. This is Garfield. And we had issues with many of his liberal takes and his weak foreign policy, like his Venezuela takes. Those were terrible. Didn't seem like I liked those.
Wait, what did I even say about Venezuela?
I don't know. I was scrolling through your tweets here, and it seemed like you didn't like how we were handling the bombings of the boats, and it didn't seem like you had just the Venezuela policy in general. Maybe you could elaborate.
Sure. I mean, I'm not against the idea of overthrowing a shitty socialist hellhole and liberating them and making them into a nice westernized liberal capitalist democracy. Sounds good to me. But from what I understand is that you need some sort of congressional approval to do this sort of thing, and Trump is currently operating without it.
So this is specifically because Trump is doing it kind of thing. It's like a
No.
PDS situation.
No, absolutely not. If Trump got permission from Congress to do this, I'd be more on board with it.
Well, I guess the problem I'm having with that is, when's the last time a president did that?
That would be Iraq, 2003.
Okay. And
and then Afghanistan before that, yeah.
No, we didn't. We had all these different special operations. We had all these loopholes multiple times before where they weren't really officially wars. All these other different little things. We go all over the world and we do this all the time. Why is this any different than, say, like the Somalia or Libya, or like anything that we're doing in Syria right now? I don't understand why this is any different.
Let me see here. In 2001, Congress passed authorization for use of military force in 2001, AUMF. So yeah, these are things that Congress authorizes.
Okay.
The fact that the executive is just
Are they
basically
able to
do.
declare
Oh, hold
things
on.
like a terror orgs? Like because it seems like this is just an extension of the global war on terror once we declared a cartel a terrorist organization.
I think the
You
global
just
war on
agree
terror
with
is
that sentiment?
over. I don't think that's in any force anymore.
I mean, in general, it still is. We still use a lot of those documents and whatnot to define how we do things. The way of like non-combatants, we have enemy combatants and foreign combatants, all these different things, all these little terms, the specific legal terms. I don't have them all right in front of me specifically at this moment in time, but like they still use these regularly to define anything. I mean, I don't see why once you declare something a terrorist organization, that's not going to authorize you to take military action against them when we use it all the time as
Let's
justification.
actually let's look it up and see what the
Sure.
government has actually said about it.
I,
I'll take a look right now.
I
Let's
have a
see.
question in there regarding that. I mean, what about domestic terror organizations? Like Trump also has listed Antifa as a terrorist organization. Do you think that that authorizes military strikes against Antifa organizations, quote unquote?
Is that for me or him?
I guess that's for Gibbs, but maybe I should be pushing you instead.
Oh no,
Yeah,
I agree
it's
with
fine.
you.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I don't mind.
I mean, I would say, like, potentially, I think that, if you're declaring things terrorist organizations, you're going to have, like, a much more aggressive militaristic stance, whether that's a, like, National Guard or if it's a, like, heavily police force or it's the Coast Guard or it's, like, us using actual military. I think those are all within threat range once you start declaring things like a terrorist org, domestic or foreign. I think specifically foreign is more egregious if they could tie you specifically to foreign things. So, like, if they had tied Antifa to being like foreign power back, I would be more inclined to aggressive, like, use of its force towards them. But if they were just domestic, I'd be, I don't know, less. So,
I mean, I'm no fan of Antifa, but I don't think it's appropriate to call them a terror organization. Um, I have a lot of problems with Antifa. In fact, the Antifa in my city got my editor fired from his day job due to associations with me. So like I am no friend of Antifa. But to say that they're the same thing as an actual terrorist organization is kind of fucking insane.
Okay. So while we look up that information that you're trying to get to, Radical Coder, you had a different issue with Dev.
Very different. So,
Maybe we can
Well,
get that
just,
out.
when
just
you-
real quick, just real quick. Like I cannot find anybody saying that Congress has given any sort of has passed anything regarding Venezuela. It seems to still be very much up in the air. It's it's a legal shit show. And I think it will be a legal shit show, especially if the Dems win in 2026, which they probably will, to be honest. So I'm here for it. By
Yeah,
the
and
way.
to be clear, we have a show next week, and we're gonna have Mooncake on there. We're gonna have Doobie on there, and we're gonna be talking about in detail the Venezuelan boat strikes. But that's a next week topic. And today we're here to fight Dev. So, Radical Coder,
sure.
give us what you got.
Yeah, so I had a very different angle. A couple years ago, on a very primitive version of my YouTube channel, I did a live stream where I watched one of Dev's videos on critical race theory, which is a bit of a pet topic of mine. Some of you might remember a conversation with Destiny a few years ago where I talked about like racist math or whatever. So I have a little bit of origins in that. But Dev, I guess, well, maybe your sentiments have changed over the last couple of years, but at the time, you gave like a pretty long history of I guess cultural Marxism, and then I guess kind of baked this in to the ideas behind like critical race theory. Like, have you changed your position? Like, are you still like against critical race theory broadly, or do you have less issues with it now as you've I guess woken from your more conservative leaning coma?
Well, one, my political views haven't actually changed. Everyone says that they have, but they haven't. Two, I did a video maybe back in February titled "Can You Be Racist Against White People?" And I redid parts of, because you're talking about my Antonio Gramsci video, and I redid parts of the Antonio Gramsci video in that video, and I pretty much feel the same way. There's not much in terms of how I've changed on that. I think that, so first of all, just to be clear, I think that most people who talk about critical theory online are very ignorant of it. It's like for a while it was like the right wing boogeyman. They had no fucking clue what they were talking about. It was just nonsense. But also I do think that fundamentally there's like there is an anti-liberal streak to it that I don't like, because liberalism is very focused on the individual and critical race theory is very much not focused on individual rights. It's focused on like the rights of certain groups or demographics, and I don't like that as a liberal.
Well, I guess to give the initial pushback there, like in terms of it being about groups instead of individual, like, wouldn't you acknowledge that, like, if there are dynamics through legal means that are targeting certain groups, then those individuals are collectively being victimized by those systems, right?
Sure, but I think you're very hard pressed to find them today. I mean, maybe you'll find them more now that the right controls everything. But like, go back 5 years,
No doubt.
I don't think you'd find any of them. To be honest, I think they were pretty much extinct in like the liberal, capitalist, democratic West. That shit was in our past.
You don't think there were still like court cases that would rise up where there were like discrimination issues that were being challenged, and like certain like laws that might have existed were being pushed against because
Just
of the way they
for sake
disproportionately
of
impacted certain
discussion,
groups?
Radical, can you give us an example
Yeah.
that you're thinking of?
I mean, I don't have a specific law in mind when I say that. I'm curious if Dev thinks that's the case or not.
Well, when I did my second video on the topic, I decided to go a little bit deeper into it, and I pulled out these various definitions of racism, right? Because there's racism on an individual level, where you have you have a white person being shitty towards a black person because he is black, and that's like an individual racism, and then you have structural racism, which is where you can have structural racism in the absence of individual racism, because you could have like certain policy where it's like, oh, this law is written to target black people, and even though I'm not racist, I gotta do my job and enforce the law as it's written. And then you can have the next level of that is like where this level is like the powder versus crack cocaine example, where like because black people disproportionately used crack cocaine versus powder, and white people used powder, they made crack cocaine be a harsher sentence, even though there was really no actual reason for it. They were the same drug in the end. So it's one of those things where we're not going to write into the law that, oh, this is meant to affect black people, but they didn't write into the law, but it clearly does, right? And so by the way, it's my opinion that those types of racism are like 99% solved at this point. Like, that's done. That's over with. What remains now are what we might call the echoes of racism, so even though we've now pulled apart policies that were legitimately racist, let's say 40 years ago, they're still going to have knock-on effects because people who suffered under them are still alive today, and they're still raising their kids, and there's going to be some sort of snowball effect that goes on. And eventually that will work its way out of the system. It might take a few generations. You can't really rush that process. It is what it is. But I think this idea, there's this idea that like we are somehow this eternally racist society that has to repent for its sins in perpetuity. I think that's all fucking nonsense.
I mean, I guess like I don't get the vibe based on my explorations of like critical race theory that they're like there's this constant need for repenting, so much as like what you were just acknowledging, that like there are going to be these kind of microchasms, these echoes of past racist policies, and that there's going to be I mean, critical race theorists would probably dig into how different laws affect different people, and when they find these disparities, they might challenge them in court, and that seems like the main goal there. So I don't. It sounds like you don't think that's a problem at all. So maybe we don't disagree as much on this at all.
If there's actual racism, no, of course not. I don't disagree with that at all. I just think there's a lot less there than people on the left think that there is. And when it comes to people who believe that like whites should be eternally repenting or something for the crimes of their ancestors, I've definitely found those people, and I talked about them in that second video of mine. I mean, I think a big one that everyone talked about back in the 2010s was Robin DiAngelo and her fucking ridiculous book. I forget exactly what it was called.
Anti-racism or something like that. I don't know.
I have to look it up. It's her most famous book. But yeah, she basically said
how to be anti-racist, or I don't know.
She
I think it's Kendi.
DiAngelo's ideas were basically
white fragility. Is that one?
White fragility, yes, yeah. It was such a nonsense fucking.
I do remember that book.
Yeah,
I mean, like the concept that white people often are. Like when conversations about racism come up, they express like a lot of resistance to it, or like there does seem to be like do you not agree that sentiment exists? Like white people are predisposed to being kind of like avoidant to talking about the issues of racism, especially in the United States.
Sometimes, sure, but I think there's also a good reason for that, because a lot of white people actually aren't racist, and I think there's definitely this feeling that sometimes they're being blamed for something they didn't do.
Like I mean I don't think that I'm racist, right? I personally think I try to be anti-racist personally. I think that's the right stance to have. So like I don't know, I find the conversations like really interesting. And I can't.
It can be in some respects. Yeah.
Why would someone feel? I mean, I can understand like emotionally feeling kind of victimized, but then like when you have like a more rational dialogue about it, it seems like a pretty reasonable thing to acknowledge and try to grapple with. Like.
Well, I think ultimately there's times and places for it, and I think one of the big reasons as to why, let's say, the mainstream culture moved away from the left slowly in the 2010s is because they wanted to make that time and place every time and every place, and it became frankly just frustrating, and people got fed up with it.
Okay.
Well, I guess to push back on that
I,
specifically, like so. Well, hang on,
Yeah,
hang on,
just
guys. I
let
want
Radical
a specific
Coder go, and then
example
we're gonna
here.
give you another
Yeah.
chance, Admiral Gibbs, and
Right.
then we'll start getting more people in
Like,
here. But go ahead.
That's fine.
I believe that like the moment that critical race theory became kind of a trending topic in the United States was when Christopher Rufo went on Fox News and he gave the statement that critical race theory has quote unquote become the default ideology of the federal bureaucracy, which is a very silly sentence by any means. But this was kind of the moment that this became like a cultural phenomenon, and this like suddenly all this talk about like anything. This was the kind of the precursor to the DEI craze, right? And I think both of these were just kind of like they were kind of a blanket term. And Christopher Rufo himself admitted as much about basically how like this was used to just demonize any conversations about race. And so I mean, I think that was like probably a major fun like piece in why we saw so much resistance, especially in the later 2010s.
Well, sure. But at the same time, I mean, I first encountered this in 2007 when it was my first year in university, and I took a class called Intro to Critical Theory. Right? I know that like right wingers tend to talk about this in a certain way. When I talk about it, I don't talk about it in that way. This is something that I do know at least a little bit about, and I do know more than your average right winger. So I do think that when I'm talking about critical theory specifically, it's not just a boogeyman word that right wing talking heads pull out on Fox News. I'm not using it that way.
Okay, Admiral.
I would like to come back to the thing that you brought up, Wick, actually, and related to the Venezuela thing. I've been sitting here listening, and I've been kind of, pondering, and I find it interesting. I think maybe, I guess why Wick finds this comment that you've made shocking is because it's a domestic, right? Like, so if I said that Netanyahu, for example, was a valid military target for Hamas to try to take out, would anybody here disagree that the president of a country that you're at war with as another country would be a valid military target? No, right? Like I think we'd all agree. Like the Ayatollah, if we were at war with Iran, would be a valid military target in theory, like a decapitation strike. Okay, so I guess when I'm sitting here, I see like the foreign powers with Venezuela. I see them as like a net bad, even if they were not declared to Congress. I'm not as opposed to maybe a more aggressive action. It seems to me like you're saying, I guess, within America, and I think this is why it's shocking to Wick and me a little bit, is that in America we have domestic systems set up in order for us to like have conversations, have people kick him out. Like there's going to be other checks and balances if he pardons himself. Like maybe this new thing where we can get rid of pardons from the last president. Maybe that's how we get rid of Trump's pardon if he pardons himself. Maybe the judiciary rules that's like invalid. There's checks and balances, and I think that the idea that we're going to go and domestically start assassinating potential political leaders because you think they're enemies of the state, I think that is a concern that we have reached that level. Do you not see why Wick would have an issue with that? And I think I have an issue. Wick, you can tell me if I'm wrong, if that's why you're saying it's
I have a host of issues with it, but fair enough. We'll go with that one. Right?
Sure.
It's my belief that Trump is actually subverting all of these checks and balances that should normally keep a liberal system functioning. And insofar as he continues to do that, something must be done about it. I would rather it not be violent, but if it has to be violent, then so be it.
Okay.
So it sounds like you think right now, the right thing to do is to
attack him.
You say that should be maybe like at what level, like what priority should that be? Should we try other things before we talking about taking out dear leaders, or what priority is this? Like, okay, number one, that's first option, or is this like number option 30?
It is not. It is absolutely not the first option. No, right now, elections still function in the United States. Like if Trump runs for a third term and then steals the election, and then he's like, I guess I'm supreme leader for life now. People have to start shooting him. Like there has to be a general uprising at that point.
Okay.
You think the third term's the line? Is that's the
line?
I
think there are several lines. That's one of them. Yeah.
Okay. That's what would you say is the final egregious point of no return? Where you would say is it that, or is there something before that you think would count?
Well, no. There are several different avenues that we could take to get to a moment where it's like, okay, this guy needs to be removed somehow. And I actually do think that him pardoning himself of all of the crimes he's committed is another one of those lines. Yes.
Okay. 50. Just real quick,
Sorry,
50 MXs. I
yeah.
don't know what MXs are. And maybe 10 cents again. I don't know. Rakashaya 3168 asks you this, Dev. Why did you defended, their words, not mine, Destiny's revenge porn on a minor? You actually dared to victim blame her and said it was all false allegations? Exclamation point, question mark.
I don't even know what this is. Okay, is this in reference to the Rose stuff?
I'm not sure.
Because like this sounds like it's mixing up possibly 3 stories into one story. You know what I mean? Like I was actually, before the start, I was going over the latest court document drop on that case, and I mean, it seems like Rose wasn't even a real person at this point. So it's like, well, I don't know exactly what you're talking about, dude. I don't know if you know what you're talking about.
Okay, if you want to clarify by giving me more money, you more than welcome, and I will ask that again. Thank you for the 50 MXs, whatever those are. But okay, at this point, let's bring in a couple more and keep this
Can I ask
going.
One more question before.
Yeah,
you do?
go ahead.
Yeah. Sure.
Dev, so you're saying if Trump runs for a 3rd term, that would be the straw that breaks would be a straw that breaks the camel's back. I mean, there are legal ways you acknowledge that he could do this. Like, I mean, Congress could pass a law that would allow him to run for a 3rd term. Would you think that still qualifies?
If he actually does work within the system and get the constitutional amendment necessary to allow him to run for a 3rd term, then the conversation is different, because he's still working within a functioning liberal system. Now it's different. If he simply disregards the law, like he did on January 6th, now we have a different conversation.
I guess what I really want to know, and I guess he's Ryan's kind of hitting at it too. What are some other situations that you would say this is like would be equivalent to that line? Like, okay, I get where you're saying. Oh, if he does it within a system, that's different. You know, it's all situational. And I'm not trying to like gotcha or like put a pin on you. I'm just like, I guess I'm trying to see what in your what your mind, like what other situation would be one where you would say it's
right.
illegal to like take
so
it out.
I think one is like if he's pardoning himself and allowing himself to basically get away with crimes and there's no way to undo that, that's one. If he's running for a 3rd term and he just ignores the law and he becomes supreme leader for life, that's another one. I think another one is if he starts denaturalizing citizens that he has political disagreements with. If he's like, you know what, all these people who are voting against me, I'm just going to start stripping them of citizenship. I think at that point you got to start fighting as well. I think those are like 3 pretty solid lines of if he crosses this line, this is now too far. The system the system's not going to be able to withstand this. So now people have to take matters into their own hands. And by the way, that's why America has a 2nd Amendment. That's the purpose of it.
Hello.
Okay. We got Periwinkle and Hazel here. You said you had issues with Dev. Bring them up.
Oh my God.
Hello. First, I think you need to cite your sources in, like, the description. I try showing your videos to, like, some leftists I know, and they're always like, oh, where's the sources? And they don't really like your arguments, or it's like, well, I kind of feel like this. I was watching your most recent video, and you were constantly saying that, oh, well, I feel like most trans women are like blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, you
mean the blue video?
Yeah, the blue one. Yeah, the Willy Wonka one. Except
listen, she's pretty cute. I don't know how you feel about it, but
I mean, yeah, she's blue. But do you think the end result of that blueness is to get a lot bigger?
Can I just ask you, Periwinkle?
Yes.
First of all, $10 from Pondering Politics to say Trump's 2nd attempt to prosecute Latita James just failed. Grand jury refused to re-indict. Thank you for the $10. Wow. Good information to know.
Well, Pondering Politics, you should get in here. And
but Periwinkle, what source do you want him to cite about the blue trans lady? Like what academic paper do you think that should be?
Well, you were talking about like a bunch of like trans stereotypes and stuff, and it's I think that's very interesting. It would be really cool if you cited like some sociology papers. I mean, but I was
going off of somebody else's chart, right? Like I didn't make that chart. I was just talking about it.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I think in general, I could probably like have a thing where I put my links and like, oh, here's where I got this paper from. Here's where I got. Generally, I'm just lazy. I should probably do it more. Like there's been some larger videos where I have papers or I have books cited, and I could at least put down where I get that from. That's fair enough.
Yeah. I also wanted to talk to you about like socialism, socialist policies. I'm not a socialist, but I mean, you de-radicalized me from the alt-right, and I have like some
Awesome.
friends that are pretty lefty, and yeah, I show them your videos, and I've just collected some criticisms of your arguments.
Okay, what's up?
So in your Haiti video, when you talked about like the Haitian like migrant situation and the
Mhm.
absolute idiocy of JD Vance, you talked a little bit about like Haiti's history, but you didn't really talk about French colonialism and how that impacted the country. And you kind of called Haiti a shithole without really talking about, well, why is it like that, which is ultimately the massive debt that France put on Haiti after the revolution.
Yeah, but that isn't what the video was about. I think I even said in the video, like, this is not a video about Haitian history today. I wasn't doing that then.
Oh, okay.
50 more pesos. I found out what MX was. It's pesos. 50 more pesos from Mace Punter W836 to ask Dev, what if Compitori's family ever finds your tweets saying that his father just fumbled upon and didn't protect them from the bullet? Aren't you afraid?
No.
Okay, cool.
Just to clarify, what he's saying there is that when Corey Comparator, the firefighter who died at the Trump rally when Trump got shot, when he died, there was this narrative floating around on right-wing Twitter that he heroically jumped in front of his daughter to save her from the bullet. It turns out, looking at, like, people took various videos from various angles, they were in the crowd. It turns out that didn't happen. That wasn't true. He was standing up, he got shot, he fell over, and he died. So he's a victim. It's tragic, but this idea of him being a hero, if you trace it back, it came from the daughter's Facebook account, and then it was quoted by Fox News. But it's not actually able to be independently verified, and it probably was just it was probably just the daughter saying something nice about her dad because she's traumatized because she just lost her dad. And fair enough, it's a very human thing to do, but it's ultimately false. It is.
Come on, brother. Come on.
Listen,
You can't let
watch the
grieving
video.
daughter Come on.
You gotta
You know,
lie.
listen.
You gotta let people lie, right? Right, Gibbs?
Well, no.
Let
This is
people lie?
no, it's not even that. Like, okay, let's just say it doesn't happen exactly the way you said it did. Okay, let's just hypothetically, right? And the daughter is like, oh, he happened to fall over me and I was shielded or some shit, right? Like, and it was just total accident. Like, people like that, I feel like, are probably Christian background. They're gonna be like, oh, this was God using them that way, and it's part of their faith. It's this nice gesture. It's good, and like y'all just mean. This is why people don't like the lefties. Y'all just want to take nice things away from people. You can't even let this daughter have her moment. You're like, yeah, fuck your dad. It's scientifically not true. Couldn't happen. Fuck
firstly,
you. Like
hold on.
Voters. Y'all know that, right?
So firstly, I don't think Radical Coder or any of the lefty would call me a lefty. Secondly,
I mean, I will call you lefty, but
yeah, I know you would.
No.
I know you would, but actual lefties would not.
Sure.
But secondly, though, it's like I'm not trying to take anything away from it. I mean, I can't. I'm a relatively small account on Twitter. I can't really change anything. But like, I am interested in what's true primarily. And if it turns out that this was just something that the daughter told people to feel better about her dad's death, fair enough. But I am interested in what's actually true. And I think what's true is important.
The small Twitter thing's a cop out because, like, oh, listen, you're not totally small, you're not totally the biggest, like either, right? Like, you have respect for it, but you're like like an example of like a bigger problem that the left and, like, you know, when I say the left, I mean all the groups, liberal, all y'all, that y'all all kind of do is the smugness. Right, and it's like y'all do this, and the average person doesn't want to like y'all when y'all like you can't even let the daughter have her moment. Fuck that! It's just scientifically not true. Like y'all understand that though? Like, do you get that?
Saying the truth is smug. In what universe is that smug? You're saying the truth.
Totally, it can be. I understand.
It can be smug.
If someone is saying something that could be false, and you're just saying, "Oh, like this could be false," like we don't have evidence that this happened in the way you're saying it did, especially when it's being used to push a political narrative. How the hell is that false? What do you want us to do?
Bro, it's his daughter, bro. Like, you think she was pushing a political narrative, but she's like, my daddy died saving me.
It's being
used by
people.
You know what? Here,
let Dev respond. Let Dev respond to it. Go ahead.
So I actually agree with you, Admiral Gibbs. Like I said, it's a very normal human thing for the daughter to do that. So I don't even hold it against her that she did that. However, I will hold it against every single right-wing pundit who took what she said and ran with it. Because her daughter isn't Fox News. Her daughter isn't, TP USA or whoever. They all said it, and they all have a political motive to say it. And I am going to call them out. But I won't call it her daughter, no.
Okay.
Or his daughter, yeah.
Hazel,
I wanted to-
just real
hold
quick,
on.
$5 from Testicle Johnson to say, Wick, you once said people like Usha Vance are poisoning the blood of our country. Could you elaborate on that? I did not say that, but thank you for the $5. That is a fake news.
Because I heard
Sure.
it say it.
No,
But-
Sounds like something that you would say, Wick.
Thank you
can I
for.
ask Dev a question?
Yeah, well, I want to
Sure,
give
what's up?
Hazel a chance
Oh, yes.
to go real quick.
Oh.
No, you can go because I don't even have that much to say.
If you don't have too much to say, why are you here, Hazel?
Oh my god.
I just wanted to. I've been spending a while in the waiting room because I just wanted to talk to people, and I just wanted to say that, Wick, some of the people that are in your chat and that wait to talk on these debates are some of the most retarded people ever, and I kind of hold it against you. Even though it was my choice to come in here, I kind of do hold it against you for making me have to listen to that because you're the one who made it possible. And other than that, I just wanted to say hi to everyone.
Okay,
I don't
well,
have much to
thanks
disagree
for
with
being
Dev,
here,
but-
buddy.
No problem. See you
Listen,
guys.
Hazel. Oh shit, he left. Fuck. Oh, okay.
Well, now you can talk to
Bye.
me.
Okay. You had a
so-
question, then I'll bring in some other people. So
Do
yeah.
you think that we as humans have an obligation to help others, even if we're not hurting anybody?
Oh god, I'm in the pit.
Okay.
Oh my
First
God.
of all, mute your mic until it's time for you to go. Truist Gum, you're here. You're in the. You're in the.
Wait, fuck. I have to turn off the stream. I can't hear shit.
Okay. Great. Wonderful. Go ahead.
Oh no, my phone's so fucking laggy. Ah, fuck.
Wonderful. Okay, we'll give you another second or two, and if you can't fix it, we're gonna.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I think I'm good.
Good. Periwinkle, go ahead. We'll get to you in a second, Truska.
Yeah, so I asked the question because, I mean, it's kind of a little... It's a thing that's come up when I talk to, leftists and even rightists, because right-wingers will say that we have an obligation to, respect our bodies and treat our bodies with dignity, so that means not being gay, that means not taking drugs or whatever, not watching porn. And on the left, it's more so about we should take care of other people, that we have an obligation to help others. And I just wanted to know your opinion on it. I think it's a little bit of both.
Well, yeah, I think it's obviously both to some degree, right? I obviously don't agree with the "don't be gay" thing, but I do think that there's. I think it's pretty self-evident that there are certain lifestyles that are more conducive to having a happy, meaningful life. Right? I think it's plain. Whether you're gay or straight doesn't matter. I think if you look at life satisfaction or just life stability, monogamous gays tend to be just higher up in that scale than polyamorous gays. It's that sort of thing, right? So I think there's certain ways of living that I think the right wing accurately gets at as as an individual, you should live your life this way. This is a proper way to live. It'll be good for you. It'll be good for your family, etc. And then I do think that left wingers who say that we should help others, I mean, they're obviously correct as well.
What extent, where would you draw the line between, the right's going too far, the left is going too far, and, the right is right about this and the left is right about this?
That's a very broad question, man.
Let's just focus on...
well,
Okay.
here, I have a saying, and the saying is that...
Can I chime in?
In a second.
just real quick,
Don't
yeah.
worry. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
so,
We'll go to it. Let's
I
get
have
the
a saying,
saying, and then I got a couple super chats, so you can chime in.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Yeah, so this is kind of how I judge things as a very basic general rule, like a kind of 50,000 feet above everything rule, is that governments should be liberal and people should be conservative, and you can
Okay.
kind of boil that down in a whole bunch of different ways, and I think it makes sense in most cases.
Okay, $10 from Festiva to say, Dev, I demand you to defend why you are Canadian. Those things aren't even people, and you're one. I can't believe I'm in the Sub for Life Club. Last video was funny, though. Thank you for the $10.
Thanks very much, buddy. Listen, it's not my fault. I can't help where I was born.
$5 from Marlo Kurtz to say there is no such thing as a harmless falsehood. Okay, I want to
think that's true.
give.
I think that's true. Yeah.
I
I
want to
think
give.
that's actually true.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think if you want a really good example of, then there's no such thing as a harmless falsehood. You have to look at something like Chernobyl, right? I don't know if you guys watched. Was it 2017 that Chernobyl show? Fucking incredible show. But the whole point of that show is that you have one tiny falsehood and it builds up over 50 years and it destroys a country. And it's yeah, you need to tell the truth all the time. That's how it has to be.
Or you can
That's
just talk
not.
about Therians who think that they can just self-identify as an animal. I mean,
Oh my
something a
God,
leftist
yeah.
has told me is that, oh, it doesn't hurt anybody. But it's like, well, if you live your life in a way that just ignores reality, even if, okay, Therians, it doesn't hurt you immediately, if you just keep denying and denying stuff, it will eventually affect your life.
Listen,
Yeah.
that's not the okay. That's not the message that I was trying to say. Okay, listen. Okay, first of all, the one obvious falsehood thing. If you ever want to get laid, you have to lie, fam. I want y'all to know at some point you have to be like, hey, you look good in that
I don't
dress. When
agree
you
with
don't
that.
look
Incorrect.
good in that dress. Yeah,
I haven't had to, but I don't know about you.
maybe if you're annoyed, it happens at some point. You're gonna just say something to keep the peace, and just it'll happen. I promise in your life. But second,
It's like when I
this
say
is
all my
the more-
panelists make good points. Okay. That's...
Exactly. See, but so here, when we sit
mean,
here
like-
though, the thing I'm trying to say when I talk about the
And
feelings,
once you're done, I want to get Truce Gum in here because Truce Gum's been waiting.
yeah,
So finish your point, and then Truce
I
Gum.
just want to clarify because I think there's a disconnect. I'm not sitting here arguing for how they feel. I could care less about how something feels, right? Like I'm kind of a dick myself, but when we're sitting here and y'all are going, hey, this daughter, her dad died, and she put this story out there about her dad saving her when he dies, and then Fox News runs with it. Yeah, it could have some political push behind it. Her dad was obviously at a MAGA rally when it happened, right? It's a sweet story. Yeah, there are everybody on either side would use this, right? Yeah, you can point that out, but then just sit there and go, we're gonna try to take this moment. It just feels mean, like when y'all do this repeatedly, it drives people away, and y'all just like, nah, we're doing it for the sake of truth. Like, okay, well,
Here,
keep on pushing then.
yeah, I'll put it this way. I'll put it this way. If things were reversed and it happened to a left-wing family, I would say the exact same thing.
Okay.
All right.
Periwinkle. I'm sorry. Truce Gum. Truce Gum had something to say. Truce Gum, you can chime in
sorry,
now.
yeah.
What's your question?
All right, so one of you guys, I heard one of you guys say something along the lines of right when people don't like care about others, or like something along those lines, right? The sort of intra outra sort of deal, right? Who was it? Because I heard it, but what I'm getting at with the reason I say that is that point that I forget which one of you made it. The point you guys made completely ignores like years and years of like classic Christian charity work that like was so strong, that used to be very strong.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember anyone making that point though.
And not that specifically. I think
No,
Captain Periwinkle said
I-
something to
it's
that effect, but it wasn't quite that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I could
yeah,
be wrong though.
something to that effect. You know, it was there was like a long delay, and I'm like kind of focusing on other things ish. But I'm trying to keep it, you know.
No, that's fine.
But like that's what I.
Okay. Any responses to that?
No, I agree. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I think
some
Okay,
right-
we're
some
gonna
right-wing
cycle.
people,
We're gonna cycle some
it's written
people
up
out
at
because I want
once
to make
ago.
sure that some people get in here. So we're gonna cycle. We're gonna let Radical Coder and Admiral Gibbs stay because I invited them personally. But thank you for
How do I
coming,
set up a
Periwinkle,
personal
and thank you
debate
for
with Dev?
coming, Truce Gum.
Wait, hold on, Periwinkle. What'd you say?
Hey, I just got here. No, I'm kidding. You guys have a great one. I'm gonna go
Thanks.
put up soy jacks over Antifa stickers.
My
Good luck.
Espeon,
Oh
my
my
dad's
God.
name Umbreon, by the way.
So, what did you say before you go, Perry? What did you
I
say?
set up a debate or a discussion with you. I want to talk about some of the politics behind some games sometime. I think Silksong is pretty lefty, but
You know what?
Might like
It actually kind of is. If you like every major character in that game is a woman, and also there is some meat on the bone there to say that Hornet is transcoded because she's the only female in a species of genderless beings. So like you can kind of map it on there if you want to do some literary analysis.
well, I was thinking more about the anti-capitalism.
Okay. Well, I'll let you guys DM each other to set up that debate. Thank you for
Can
coming.
I DM you,
Periwinkle.
Short Photo Taku?
Yeah, my DMs are open, man.
Oh, really?
Now they know.
Oh, really? Just kick them the fuck out.
Okay, I'm trying to go in the order you guys join. We got Antelope and we got a Professional here.
So Anna's one of my mods. Hi,
Oh,
Anna.
okay.
Oh, hey, Dev. Nice hat, by the way. But can I ask my question? Or
Go
Sure,
ahead.
what's up?
about the core Comptour thing, I think I have a better way of explaining why it rubs people the wrong way. First of all, I want to say I think you're right. Like, I think he did fall over on top of her, but I think the reason why it rubs people the wrong way is because it's an optics thing. To most people, it doesn't really matter whether it's a lie because, like, for example, if a parent lies to their kid about Santa Claus being real, is it really? You can say it's like justice that it has to be that they have to be told the truth that they have to know, but there's like a certain amount of how much does it really matter? Like when you say that it matters because the truth matters. Typically in journalism, when you're fighting for the truth, it's about something that's relatively important. But what a family says about someone who died tragically, what they say about them, if it's just a passive comment about how they were a good person or how they saved them or something, doesn't really matter. To most people, it doesn't matter. I guess that's why it rubs people the wrong way that you were saying
So
that.
I understand all that, and I agree with you. I agree with you. However, the issue ultimately is that you have a bunch of people who, let's be frank, they don't give a shit about this guy. They don't care about him. They don't care about his daughter. They care about basically puppeting his corpse around for political points. These are all of the right-wing talking heads, and those are the people that have to actually
And the
be
president.
pushed back against.
Gibbs, you have something to say?
Yeah, I
Alright.
just okay. I feel like I'm a very pessimistic person.
Oh,
So it's
just
funny
real
to me
quick, $20 from Dirty Deeds says Dev. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but money
you're fine.
money is more important than you, Gibbs. Says
Oh, I
Dev,
understand.
when do you believe it is effective and moral to use violence on an interpersonal level and societal level, and what are the corresponding morals that map out said explanation? Also, why don't you own PVS 14S?
I don't know what PVS 14S is.
I don't know what that
I
is.
don't know. And that's a very complicated question, man. Like very clearly on an individual level, like self-defense, but like when you're talking about societies, like that's very complicated. It's not like an easy thing to really work out, not on the fly. There's a lot to that. Like sometimes, sometimes your government has abused you enough that you have to have a revolution, and sometimes you're overblowing it, and it's actually not that bad. Like it's not a hard, it's not an easy thing to determine. I don't know if I can give you like a quick answer on that.
Sorry about that, Gibbs. Go ahead.
Oh, you're fine. I guess just like when you're sitting here like saying these things, like, all right, it's a tragedy. Okay, I think we can all agree someone getting shot is generally a tragedy. I feel like in this case, like he's an innocent bystander, innocent voter. He gets shot. Okay, that's a sad story. Okay, and then people are gonna go and look for something positive in this sad story, like a nugget of like positivity. Oh, he died saving his daughter. Wow, what a feel good story. Like at least this last moment, this hero firefighter died saving his daughter at a rally he believed in. Yeah, I get that it's got a political message, but like I think at the same time, people want to have like feel good moments in these bad times, and the fact that I'm the one having to explain this to y'all and why it makes it look like y'all look like dicks, and like it's just crazy to me whenever y'all.
I understand all of this.
Y'all try to take away this from people. I don't know.
Listen, I understand all of this. It's just that I don't trust Fox News to have these sort of very high-minded ideals. They're not bringing it up to give people a nice moment. They're bringing it up to radicalize people.
True.
Well, Dev, I don't know if it's to radicalize people because
But anything they do, they could like cure cancer, and they did to radicalize people against cancer. I just don't understand.
No, I would not. I would not say that.
So this claim that radicalizes people, I don't understand. Walk me through that.
The idea is okay. So if Fox News does this,
No,
he's saying that. Oh, sorry.
Wait, sorry. What did you ask? Sorry.
What is it about this lie that it radicalizes people? I don't actually know if I understand that.
Okay. My view of it is when you have you have a story about this guy that is false, that makes him out to be more heroic than he actually is. And I think that like basically right-wing talking heads, whether it's Fox News or it's other organizations that kind of do this sort of propaganda work, I think they will latch on to this and they will repeat it over and over and over and talk about how now he's a martyr. It's not they're maximizing the story. It's not just that he is an innocent bystander who got shot. He was a hero who jumped in front of his daughter, because it makes him look even more moral in his death, and now he becomes this martyr. And I think it's just a method of propaganda. I think they've done similar things with Charlie Kirk. I think they've done similar things with Trump himself. I think this is actually very common when it comes to someone who is legitimately suffering, who is a legitimate victim of violence on the right. they absolutely milk that for all it's worth, and it does go beyond the bounds of decency, I think.
Okay, I want to give
So
I'll let you
sorry.
respond real quick, but then after that, I want to give Professional a chance because Professional hasn't gotten a chance
Yeah,
yet
no
to
problem.
ask their question.
I was just gonna say I kind of see where you're coming from, especially like the Charlie Kirk thing. There was this lie that was propagated about his children being there, right? His daughter like running to his arms because she heard the shot, and apparently they weren't even in the same state. So I guess I mean, well, I'll pass the Professional, but like what I'm wondering, and maybe we can get into this later, is like what if maybe for Gibbs, like what if Erica Kirk was the one propagating that lie specifically? Do you think then it would be like the kind of thing that like is it just like a comforting lie? Like imagine they were there. Like I don't know. Maybe that's a bit more far fetched, but I'll let Professional come in.
Hello. I hope you don't mind a bit of a topic switch, but
Yeah, what's
Dev,
up?
man, I love your videos, but recently I feel like you've sold out the liberal values you claim to stand for in
How so?
exchange for communism.
Hold on, you're cutting out, man. Can you say that again?
Sorry. Uh, you said that MAGA is
Mhm.
worse than communism? The Holodomor, Dev. Stalin. Joseph Stalin. How do you plead?
Were you the guy who asked me that in the comment on my channel?
Yeah, and you ditched replying me in order to come here, so I had to follow you.
Well, of course I ditched replying you to come here because I was coming here. I was fucking scheduled. I mean, here, you know.
Well, can you answer his question though? Why
yeah,
can
of
you
course. Here,
justify
give me a second,
that
give me a
MAGA
second.
being worse than communism? Go ahead.
I'm gonna hop on to that actual comment thread just so we're all up to date of where that comment thread actually went. Let me just find
Perfect.
it here. Yeah. Whereabouts is it? Oh, were you the TK guy? Is that you?
No, it should be Bird Snatcher.
Oh, Bird
I
Snatcher.
have like 5 different usernames.
Okay.
We're just doxing his usernames like left
honestly,
and right. But go ahead with your
yeah.
go.
Okay, here we go. Yeah. So I said, yeah, you said Bird Snatcher. I plan to, and I said I'll do it right now. MAGA currently wields power, while communism will never wield power in America in our lifetimes. Focusing on communism as a boogeyman is just as pathetic as focusing on fascism as a boogeyman. There are different political adversaries to liberalism in the 21st century. We don't need the ghosts of the 20th century anymore. And I think, yeah, you said Bird Snatcher, but do you think that, let's say, Soviet Russia is worse than anything Trump has done or will do? In other words, if the commies succeeded, then and only then they would be worse than MAGA. So MAGA is only worse insofar as commies never gain power. And then I replied to you with, it's more like, do you recall when Sargon said that progressives need to get over fascism because it's an old boogeyman from 100 years ago? It's no longer relevant to today's politics. And continuing to bring them up is basically just an appeal to emotion. It's the same with communism. It's a vanquished enemy. It's no longer relevant. The enemy that is unvanquished, that is still around today, is MAGA. And for that reason alone, they are far more dangerous. I think that kind of lays out my position pretty clearly. Like, listen, if we're going to sit here and just do like the death count game where we count up all the various ideologies and how many people they've killed. First of all, everyone has blood on their hands, even liberals. But secondly,
Me.
yeah, except you, yeah. Is it a giant sunny? Are you fucking kidding me? Put it in a glass, you degenerate.
I will do what I was. Imagine a Canadian calling me a degenerate, but go on, please.
I never had more respect for you, Wade.
So I would say, like, if we're doing the whole death, like, this ideology is worse because it killed more people. Like, there's a lot of truth to that in some aspects, but also it's kind of simplistic, right? Like, there's other things that make ideologies bad other than just raw death counts. If it's just raw death counts, well, then Maoism is the worst. Like, they've killed 100 million people. There, it's done. Like, the conversation's over, right? But right now, fascism is dead. There are no more fascists. There are a few fascists online. They're running around. They're being retarded. They are irrelevant because MAGA, even though MAGA is, in my opinion, very evil, it's not a fascist movement. Okay? The communists, they're largely gone too. Like, where's the American Communist Party? It's fucking gone. Like the Democratic Socialists of America, they have their serious problems. They're not the same thing as like a Soviet-aligned Communist Party. All right? So we are in the 21st century. We have liberalism has different political adversaries right now. I don't think communism and fascism are that relevant anymore. They're like a historic evil in kind of the same way that like I don't know, fucking Genghis Khan was. It's a little bit sooner, but it's, give it 100 years and no one cares about fascism anymore. It's gone. It's done. It's just it's in the graveyard of history,
Yep.
right?
Does
So
that answer your
no,
question?
just to be clear, right? When I was saying MAGA is worse than communism, I was being a bit spitfiery and edgy on Twitter. Fair enough. If you think that that's a bad thing I shouldn't do, you win that one. I probably shouldn't be so fucking stupid on Twitter sometimes. But my actual honest to God take is that communism is largely irrelevant in today's politics. And so I don't think about it as being this immediate evil that needs to be dealt with the same way that MAGA is right now.
All right, so yeah, that does answer. I would like to. I think I would disagree on the level that you think communism is gone from present day American politics. I mean, Zoran Mamdani, right? This is a guy who's openly a socialist, just got elected to probably the most important mayoral position. I mean, I think that's very significant. I've seen polls, over what is it, like 50, 60% of, people in my generation, younger folk, people in college right now are looking at socialism favorably. I mean, we have the fact that history, I mean, God, I hate saying it because it sucks, but yeah, no, history trends leftward. I mean, I think we could agree there. So I think
Tries to.
that what happened was, well, yeah, obviously. I mean, it was, bumps in the road and shit, but um, history tends to go that way. I think things like Soviet Russia and, China, obviously, I feel like that's a lesson in jumping the gun, but I don't think that doesn't mean we're not going to get there again. And I do feel that it's still something worth talking about. Also, something worth talking about more than fascism is, and yes, MAGA is more immediate, but I would argue that the threat of communism, were it to come back, is much worse than MAGA now. MAGA is in power now, and I don't think that they've done nearly enough as bad. Obviously, they lose the numbers game in terms of deaths. But if communism were to come back, that'd be a lot worse, like any day of the week. And I think there's a large enough chance that that's going to happen that it is worth talking about.
You think so? Like, you think that, within the next 10 years is going to be some sort of, large communist uprising that, destroys the Democratic Party from within, and then there's like a Zoran Mondani like cult of personality?
Dev,
I don't see it happening.
just Dev, do not take China into this consideration. China is the openly communist, and they
Sure,
are
but
an
what about
absolute threat, are they not?
They are, yes, and I agree with you on that. But also, I mean, China is also a lot. It's also very fascist in the way that it operates.
It's both.
And
It's
even
like
then,
it's communist
Yeah.
with Chinese characteristics. So it's got some
which makes it more
other
fascist.
kind of
Yeah.
special little uh things about it, but it absolutely is a communist threat.
Well, sure, and I agree
fact-
with you there. But I
Sure.
think the way that I'm viewing it though is like if we're talking about like domestic American politics specifically, this idea that the Soviet Union is still funding somehow, the American Communist Party to subvert America from within. That's not happening. That's done. That's over.
Sure,
right?
I
Like
would agree
these
with that,
subversives
yeah.
right now,
Well,
they
wait, hold
subvert
on.
the
You don't
Republican
think that-
Party.
Hold on. Well, yeah, I was just saying we know that even like right and left, there's definitely foreign powers. Like if we're all being honest, there's probably foreign powers trying to meddle in our affairs on both sides. Like we probably do. I figure like that's a statecraft in general. I guess my question is when you say MAGA is a greater threat, like this once again, this is not a gotcha. I'm just trying to understand. Define MAGA because I like as a Republican. I find it hard to define exactly what MAGA is because it's a very like populist movement, right? So, what do you say like MAGA? How do you define it, or is it that it's kind of undefinable? Is why it's a threat, I guess. What did you?
When I say it, I mean more like people who are Trump loyalists, like the ones who will stick with Trump no matter what he does. Like even if it comes out that like Trump was
cult
raping kids
personality?
in Epstein's Island, they're still pro Trump no matter what. Those guys.
So, like, yeah, okay. So you're saying just like the corrupt crony, like diehard zealot people, not so much like the nebulous populist movement of it itself.
Well, populism has its own problems, and there's definitely some overlap there for sure. But like, yeah, I'm talking about like the cult of personality around Trump.
Okay.
Can I ask what do you when you say that MAGA's
just real quick before you go, we do need to cycle because I want to get other people in here. So Professional and Antelope, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Do appreciate
Yeah,
it.
I'm happy to be
Thanks,
here.
guys.
Thanks for your questions.
Yep. See you.
You just fucking kick him. You're like heartless with this shit.
I gotta be
You're in the middle of-
ruthless to get people
You're
in
in the
here.
middle
Okay?
of saying goodbye and you just boot them.
Gotta be ruthless. Okay, you gotta. We're doing it for time, gang. We're doing it for time. But okay, we have Kel,
Stick is
Kinetic Kel, and we have
Kinetic Kel.
Black Rainbow.
Pulling in two women, very progressive of you. Love the support of the panel. I think it's good to get some women in here besides Ryan. He felt kind of ganged up on, I'm sure.
Okay. $5 from West on Lake to say, when Dev says that they are making the firefighter out to be a higher hero, I have to ask, Dev, do you think the father would have died to save his daughter?
Yes, of course.
Okay. I want to give the mic first to Black Rainbow. If you have something to say and critique for Dev, go ahead. You got to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I was working on it. Sorry.
It's all good. What do you got?
Hi, Dev. It's Melissa.
Hi.
How are
I
you?
know who it is. I know exactly who it is. What's up?
Hey, I don't know. I have a couple of questions for a couple of potential points of contention. A while ago, you made a video, and if I remember correctly, it was about the Cracker Barrel thing.
Yeah, yes. That was like 3 months ago or something.
Yeah, I watched that video, and
cool.
I posted to you on Twitter, but you never. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't that interesting. But
you get banned every like 2 months, man. I don't know what account you're on now.
That's very cringe. Don't do that.
Well, you know what? No, I'm not shitting on him. I was just saying I made a critique of it in Twitter, and for whatever reason he didn't see me. And he's right. Like Twitter keeps banning my accounts, so
Maybe he
I have
saw
to
it and he
bounce
just
from
didn't
one to another.
respond. Maybe he saw it and he just didn't respond. Have you thought of that?
Well,
What's
I
up?
have
What's
like
up?
5 followers. Anyway,
Exactly.
in it,
So
you
I'm
were
like, maybe he.
Hold on, let Rainbow ask her question. Let Rainbow ask her question. Then we can we'll get you in here, Kel. Don't worry.
in that video, you were talking about how stores or restaurants like McDonald's and Taco Bell have kind of done the modernist like square thing.
Yep.
And where a lot of that trend comes from, like the reason restaurants are always moving in that direction, it actually comes from millennials, because we are the largest voting bloc and economic
We're the
bloc
worst
right now
generation.
in the
I know.
United
We're
States.
the worst generation. We suck.
Right. Yeah, we suck a lot. But I mean, the reason we're like, and this is where my question comes in. The reason in my mind why that is because most of us were raised by boomer parents who had that ugly orange shag carpet and the lime green couches or Davenports, right? You know what I'm talking about. And it was just
yes.
clutter. It was clutter everywhere. With our parents, it is nonstop clutter. Like the day my dad dies, the very next day, I'm going to his house and throwing all his useless, worthless shit away.
Okay.
Do you think that's where do you think that's where millennial aesthetics comes from?
I think in part, yeah, that's definitely one component of it. I think where the whole like minimalist, white or chrome, very simple colors, non-offending to the eyes, that sort of thing. I think there's several sources of it, and I do think that millennial backlash to boomer clutter and like boomer decadence is definitely part of it.
Okay,
I feel like
you didn't make
one of
that
the
clear in
bigger-
that video. Go ahead.
Oh, fair enough.
I haven't watched this video, so I don't know if you talked about this, but isn't like probably one of the maybe easier to chew on reasons for that, just that like you can put a different business in that building a lot easier. Like you can't, like if you take like an old Pizza Hut, for example, and you put some other store there, like it always has that Pizza Hut shape, right? Like there's there's not a lot of like mobility between businesses.
No, I agree with you there too. Like things become more fungible when you can just like easily swap out the brand and not to change anything. I agree with you there as well.
But I don't think she was talking about businesses. She was talking about like homes and like personal, like the way we keep our homes personally.
Well, yeah, but it's a conversation about aesthetics.
I was referring to both. I was
Yeah.
referring to both. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the
Because
shag
I'm-
carpet's fault that the millennials are all fucked up. I agree.
It's the
Fuck
shag carpet's fault.
Thought it was
Yeah,
lead.
shag
damn it.
but-
We thought it was the
Like,
shampoo
I'm at the
cancer.
point in
It
my
was
life
really the
where
shag
if I
carpet.
walk into a house and it's clutter, like it starts triggering me. Like I need to get out of there.
Dev, what's
Fair
your
enough.
stance on universal suffrage, my man?
My stance on universal suffrage
Yeah.
seems
Okay.
all right to me, with maybe with a few exceptions, but yeah.
What exceptions would you make?
Like what? Yeah.
Well, under 18s, obviously.
Sure.
Non-citizens, obviously. But beyond that, I think it's fine. Like I'm not one of those guys who are like take away the right to vote from women. I'm not one of those guys.
Heard some contentious,
Okay, $10 from Old School to say this. Ask Dev to respond to this. He asked for examples of Biden weaponization of government. I gave the example of the Department of Justice prosecuting pro-lifers who didn't violate the FACE Act, while not prosecuting pro-choicers who did. Do you want to respond to
And
that?
to be honest, I have not heard of that at all. I have to look it up. It's possible that happened.
Yeah, I don't know about that either, but I do regularly hear about one example of like a pro-lifer who was the right always describes this person as being arrested for praying outside of a like abortion clinic or whatever. Which and like when I dug into this, I looked at the charges and it was not that. It was like they were actually like doing something, like they were doing violence basically, like they were like some sort of property destruction or something. Like they weren't just praying out there. It was so it was like just a complete fabrication from the right. Many such cases, but you know.
No, I've never heard of this story before. I mean,
Okay.
I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I just don't know anything. So I'm sorry, man.
Okay.
Do you think that the right regularly, as Ryan said, kind of obfuscates things to like fit their narrative?
Yes, I think the left does it too, though. I think this is something that's like not unique to one political side.
Do you think one side does it more than the other, especially in like today's political landscape, for example?
I think right now, ever since Trump lost in 2020, the right has kind of been spiraling off into an alternate reality, and they've been doing it a lot more since then. But I think if you go back to, let's say, 2014, 2015, I think the left was doing it more back then.
Okay, 50 pesos from Mace Spunter says, why did you catfish as women to harass them like you did with Kirsch? Short fat otaku, dragon fat deposits, subtle.
Oh my god.
Member camera lady? Question mark,
Dude,
exclamation point?
I love the ancient lore.
I don't know any of this. What can you explain?
That's awesome.
Okay.
Exposed.
So when I started my channel, it was like me and two of my friends back in 2009, and we were all younger, and we were like running around my hometown with a camera, like just making random fucking videos, right? And so there were three of us, and now eventually it's just me, and now I'm in my 30s because I've grown up a little bit, not that much, but a little bit, right? And so one of the women who worked for my channel like back in 2011 or like 2012 has since moved on, and she now has a family, and she's gone. She I think works at a university somewhere now. But the point is that because she left, at this point like 7 years ago, people are saying that she never actually existed, even though there's old videos of us in the backlog together. It's like just a nonsense.
But she's
claim.
like what does it have to do with you allegedly catfishing?
Yeah, what the fuck?
I don't know, man.
Listen.
Listen.
Continue to
So-
the actual
so-
part of the story.
So this is one of those things that Mr. Medicare brought up. When Medicare was feuding with Sargon back in 2018, he pulled this out of his ass. There was no proof of it, but because it's Medicare, it stuck around, and now everyone says it. No, actually, no. It's kind of died off in the past few years. People don't really say it's like too old lore. People don't really say it anymore.
You know what? I'll
Now,
have to do my own investigative journalism on this one for sure.
Sure, go ahead. And then the thing with dragon fat deposits is that dragon fat deposits was a mod of mine for many years who actually did end up being a catfish and actually was fucking with Kirsch, and Kirsch is a very large VTuber who is very right wing. And so there was actually a very large drama between her and I about a year ago because I didn't believe the mod that I had and had known for years and years was capable of doing this. And it turns out they were pulling the wool over everyone's eyes, including me. So that was a big fucking shit show that happened last year.
Good to know. Okay.
We'll see. We'll see, boys.
I wanna-
okay?
Oh my god!
This
Are
is
you gonna go? Are you gonna go like investigate now,
Yeah, I'm
Cal?
gonna go dig, bro. I'm gonna go dig hard.
All right, have fun with
Love
that.
Okay.
Apologize. I just mischaracterized something. Apparently it wasn't violent charges. It was specifically like some trespassing related things. So I just want to. I'm not trying to like slander people or whatever.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, that's a big difference, Ryan. Fucking breaking
Yeah,
property.
it's been a while. I apologize. Yeah, since I read
Is,
about
is-
that. So,
so is this Cal person one of yours then, Radical Coder?
I want to know one.
I'm-
I want to fucking know one,
yeah,
bro.
exactly.
Okay.
I'm my own woman.
Wait, hold
okay?
on. Are you? Oh, wait. Are you streaming from a fucking stop sign? Is anyone behind you?
Yo, listen. I am parked. Listen. I'm out here in the boonies. Problem? At least I'm cammed up.
Okay.
Okay.
Problem?
Yeah.
Well, we haven't seen your
Interesting.
face the whole time.
Okay.
So if you're talking about cammed up,
Yeah, if you're cammed up, we're seeing your car dashboard.
So
let's give
a
it.
little bit.
Let's Black Rainbow. Did you have anything else before we cycle you out?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
And this is going to be my more contentious issue. Dev,
Okay.
why is centrism always so dickless? Like, here,
What do you
just
mean?
let me explain myself. Whenever I see a centrist on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, the line always goes something very similar to this. I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I'm not left or right. And then, excuse me, while I go on a 10-minute tangent about how bad the left is. It's always this dickless shit.
So keep in mind, if you talk to any right winger, they will say the exact same thing, but they'll say, "Oh, they're now going at like the centrists are going after the right, even though they say they're not actually left or right." It's the same critique from the right. All right, you both make the same critique about the middle in the same kind of ways. I think the reason that you perceive centrism to be dickless is because you can't understand that people who oppose you might also oppose the right for different reasons.
Okay. But, I mean, I could give you an example just off the top of my head. Are you familiar with JD on TikTok? He does like prison TikTok videos.
I am not sorry.
I don't know that person.
Oh,
either.
okay. Well, he did that whole spiel I just said. Like, literally. He didn't even say anything negative about the right at all. And that's like, this is just the song and dance I see every fucking time.
That's fair. That's fair. But I mean, I've seen the opposite though. I've seen so many right wingers say, like, okay, you know what, Admiral Gibbs, you're on right wing Twitter. Maybe you've seen this meme. There's a meme of a guy with like very big glassy eyes and like kind of like a wrinkled face, and he's wearing a shirt, and the shirt says something like, "I'm neither left nor right, but I would never, ever, ever, ever agree with the right on anything." You know, and it's like there's this perception on both extremes of the spectrum where the people who are in the middle are always coming after you, but it's just not true. It's just not the truth.
I might want to push back just a little bit there, though. So when you say that, I don't know that I have seen that meme, and I feel like I'm pretty deep in the trenches on the meme circuit, and so I feel like I would have. But I believe it's
You can
out
find
there.
it if you want. I'm sure it's pretty easy to find.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like any plug and play meme. I believe it exists. Like that's not really where I'm going with this. I think that the issue though is, yeah, the right wing has some people that are like that. However, I think overall we're much more like, hey, listen, they hate you too. Just come join us and we can work on things we agree on, and then we can worry about the other stuff later. Versus like the left seems like, oh, you're a centrist, fuck you, bitch. Like I feel like the right's very much more like, oh, you're an economic conservative and you're a social lib. Hey, come over here. We can work on the economic conservative side. Oh, you're a social conservative. Well, we got something for you too. And then I feel like that's kind of what they're much more willing to do. And you're like, as opposed to what you're seeing, I think maybe it's because you're further left than some. I don't know. Maybe not.
So I think I think if this were pre-2020, you'd be completely correct on this. But I do think that recently the right has gone down the same sort of purity spiral pathway the left used to go down. I've seen so much right-wing infighting right now, especially between like some of the big names of people. Like right now, the big infighting are like the H-1B visa tech bros versus the America First nationalists, and they're eating each other alive right now. So I think the right is falling into the same pitfall.
Okay.
You're not wrong about that.
Okay, I'm going to cycle a little bit out. Thanks for coming, Black Rainbow. I hope your questions got answered.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Guys,
We'll talk later, Dev.
It's good to talk to you again. Yeah. Hope you've been good.
I can't see my camera like when it's on. So
You're
I thought I
fine.
was, like,
Your
myself.
camera's on. Okay.
Oh.
We
No, I
can
know
see
now.
you now. We can see
Yeah,
you
fuck.
now.
Okay, you're live, gang. We got sorry, the OBS is making them abbreviating your names, so we have Z and S here.
Wait,
Okay.
actually, just real quick, Smug, are you here to talk about that fucking thing you've been bugging me about for 3 months?
Yes.
Yeah! Let's go.
Are
Let's
you?
Go, Smug.
Yes, I haven't slept in 2 days and I'm ready.
Let's
Oh my
go,
god,
Smug.
I haven't fucking looked into it yet.
Well,
You were the
can
one
you elaborate
talking
for the
about it on
audience?
Twitter for
Smug,
like 2
hold on,
months
just real quick,
before I
please.
mentioned it.
Smug, what do you got?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, yeah, go ahead, Smug.
Okay. There's a cluster chart that there's a cluster chart from a study that Dev was talking about on Twitter a while ago, where the Twitter post was about a cluster chart showing higher diversity of thought on the right and more clustered, more tightly clustered, less diverse thoughts on
I
the
remember
left.
this chart, but go ahead. Yeah.
Yes. And Dev came out with his little image where it was with a top bar graph of the part that was blue and a top bar graph of the part that was red, showing that if you did it left to right, the blue part occupied a larger part of the spectrum, therefore it was actually the left that had a higher diversity of thought.
I'm not sure if I said it quite like that, but I know where you're going with this. Go ahead.
It's been a busy week. If I say something wrong, please correct me on.
Yep, that's fair.
The first thing that caught my attention was the image that you posted, the cluster graph that you posted was slightly different from the cluster graph that was being used by the original poster saying it was the right that had more diversity. There were more colors involved. Some of the dots were different colors. I actually pulled up the study, looked into it, and you made one key mistake on it because both charts are in the study.
Okay.
Whenever you're
What's the
going
mistake?
through it, you attributed the wrong meanings of the colors to the wrong chart.
Dev, can you answer for your chart crimes?
Oh my god. Okay, let me see here. Figure 2. Extracted attitude network. A is the one that's more colorful.
It's
A
the
visual
one that you used,
representation
yes.
of the extracted attitude network, revealing a distribution of 40 attitudes in 2 clusters. Dark blue is strong disagreement, pale blue is moderate disagreement, gray is neutral, orange moderate agreement, red strong agreement. And then B, 2 attitude clusters, depending latent Democrat and Republican. Oh, I see. No, you know what? You're right. Yeah, I see what you're saying now. No, you're correct.
We get a concession? Let's go.
If you're willing, yeah, okay, that's all. Just okay. You've been held accountable for bad research.
I-
We're good to go.
Oh my god.
Held
issues are resolved.
accountable. Okay, we've punished him.
I'm not sure if it changes my core point that much,
You
but
can
yeah,
disagree with the conclusions of the study. I have no problem with that. But the
Okay.
study itself did say the opposite of what you were saying. The study can
Okay,
be
fair.
wrong, but that is what the study said.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
W interaction.
Sorry, just answering your
Very
important
productive.
DM. real
Surprisingly
quick.
productive.
Okay.
So I
Go ahead.
to piggyback off that, if you
Go ahead,
you will,
please.
like, I know that there's been a criticism from the right on the left that all y'all's content seems, I don't know, for lack of a better way to put this, manufactured, organized, and I think there's a bit of this, like, and I think that study kind of reflected that, where it seems like there's a message that the Dems at the top and the organizations around them are pushing all the way down to the lower streamers, versus on the right, it seems like there's very much like we're all in this for our own self-interest. Like I'm like a Texas conservative. That's a little bit different than like an Ohio guy or like somebody from Florida. We all have different stuff, and we're all the same kind of camp. And I find that like the messaging is even more diverse on the right. Like as opposed to, like, do you disagree with that, or do you think that the study was correct and like that mimics real life?
I mean, I think that's true, yeah, but like the whole diversity of thought thing on the right is like, okay, yeah, sure, but the diverse thoughts they're having are like whether or not women are people. So I don't know, like the debates happening on the right are not
Ew,
necessarily
no.
high quality debates.
I would like
Nobody's
to bring up
having
the-
that.
I'd like to bring up one of the lines from the conclusion of the
Who's
study.
having that
That's
debate?
okay.
Hold on,
Sure,
just
go
real quick. Hold on, just real. I'll let you in a second, Smug. But who's having that debate? I see it all the time on right-wing Twitter.
That women are people. That women are people.
That whether women can vote.
They don't deserve the right to vote and
Oh,
stuff.
they
you
can
know.
vote. Okay,
You've seen that debate, yes?
constantly.
So
I've seen that debate. Yeah, I hang out. Okay, listen.
These spheres, it's very common for them to have a meme, which is just like repeal the 19th every time a woman comes on panel or something. Like they mean it. They're not joking.
Okay, listen. I hang out in right wing spaces that are so far to the right they view Trump as a leftist. Okay, and these people are talking about like the esoteric differences between classy and degenerate forms of anti-Semitism. Okay, so like there's absolutely a lot of disagreement on the right, but it's all fucking retarded.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, okay.
So I do feel like there is a lot of like Trump specifically aligned messaging that kind of goes down through a very narrow pipeline.
Well, I did
from like
the
Jack Posobiec's and these sorts.
And I did interrupt Smug, and I apologize for that. But Smug, you had a thing.
No, you remembered, so we're all good.
Yeah, contention you wanted to bring up. So go ahead.
So yes, so just going back to the study, just because it's topical here. From the conclusion of the study itself, verbatim. The Republican cluster includes some surprising issue positions that, under interval assumptions, might be assumed to fall into the Democrat cluster. I'm not going to say that the right doesn't have some absolutely whack job positions, but there is also a large amount of formerly 90s, 2000s Democrat positions that do roughly fall under the broad, maybe not MAGA, but at least the broad right-wing banner at this point.
Yeah, I think I generally agree with that. Yeah.
Especially over the past year. But currently, a lot of previous Democrat positions have been folded under.
Yeah, so like in the 90s and 2000s, liberal center-left positions, they're like free speech and open inquiry have kind of been co-opted by the right because the online left, at least, and certainly parts of the academic left, moved away from them throughout the 2010s. And I mean, I experienced that. I was in academia in the early 2010s, and I experienced a whole bunch of left-wing dogmatism coming into the academy. So like that's true. That absolutely happened for sure. I know what you mean.
And also, just piggybacking off that real quick, I promise, is the study talked a lot about the ostracization mechanisms of the left and how deviation from those points will very quickly get you ejected. While there is definitely attempts at that by the right, I do not feel that the right has been nearly as effective in doing so.
I agree.
I would agree. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, just because, especially like with like the Israel-Palestine thing, it's like with all of my lefty friends, it's like if you're not like with or like pre-Palestine, then you're against us because it's like very black and white. Where I think exactly what Gibbs was saying earlier, where it's like kind of conservatives are more individual focused and like focused on that's why they're like isolationists typically and all this stuff. So maybe it's not effective, but maybe it's just because it's like more of a selfish political leaning side, right?
I think that's partially true for sure, but I definitely think that there are some core things that if you step out of lockstep with, you will find yourself basically excoriated on the right. And I think a good example of that right now is Marjorie Taylor Greene, where she's now moved out of lockstep with Trump and she's being completely fucked over. So I think there's definitely a sort of blind dogmatism that is seeping its way back into the right wing right now.
Okay, let me get a couple super chats in here. $5 from Metalworks to say, a little off topic, but what's your guys' opinions on OpenAI killing the RAM market? Is there an AI bubble? And if there is, when will it burst? And then
just real quick on that, I am glad that I built my new computer a month ago because the prices for every part that I bought doubled. So
crazy shit. Yeah.
Man, the AI might actually be the fucking end of human civilization at this point. I don't fucking know. We might be the last generation. I don't know, man. Things are getting kind of scary out there in AI land.
Après moi le deluge. Okay, after me comes the flood. 20 pesos from Mace to say, Dev, you were Dragon Fat Deposits. Come on, Peepa hurt ya. And then
we're to find out, chat. We will.
There's a fucking gaming stream where I was on the call with her. All right.
Okay.
Come on.
$20 more pesos says
Can
Dev.
I speak to the AI bubble thing before?
Sure, in a second. Dev lets pedos hang on Discord and said he won't ban them.
Oh my god. Is that another deep lore thing I got to explain now?
I don't know. But I'm curious.
Is this just all my fucking old dramas?
Well, you signed up for this, bro. I hate to break it to you, but come on.
I did. I can't complain that much. Okay, so Okay, the whole Dev let pedos hang on Discord and said he wouldn't ban them. Here's the truth of that claim, okay? So, go back to 2018. Sargon was banned off of Patreon, all right? And he was banned from Patreon specifically because not for anything he did on Patreon and not for anything that he did on his own channel, but he was a guest on somebody's channel and he was debating with alt-righters. And there was a bunch of alt-right people in the chat who were losing their minds at him because he was giving what were in 2018 pretty liberal takes. He's not a liberal anymore, but he was back then. So he was giving these liberal takes. And at some point he got fed up with the alt-righters in the chat and he decided to call them white N-words. He said, "You're acting like a bunch of N-words right now. You're a bunch of white N-words." And the reason he said that is because he understood that, one, they did not like black people, and two, that the N-word denotes a specific type of black person that behaves in a specific type of way that
What do you mean by
alt-righters
that?
do not like. What do you
What do you mean by that? What do you mean the
but-
N-word connotates specific types of black people?
What do
that
you
people
mean
know?
by that?
Because I would need to.
Yeah, like kind of like lower class kind of raucous, black people.
Oh, it's almost like
Yeah.
it's not your word to use or like classify people with, right?
What are you talking about?
Like the N-word, you say it has a specific connotation for like lower class black people? That's insane. That's an insane thing to say.
No.
Like-
That act a specific way.
Yeah, that's even crazier, bro.
No,
That's
it's
like-
not.
Yes,
It's
it is.
completely fucking normal.
That's. What do
Listen,
you mean by that? Act a
Well-
specific type of way? So you're saying
Yeah,
people that-
let's say
question, Kel.
maybe
The N-word
they're
means,
violent,
Kel.
maybe they have a
What do you think that means? Yeah, what do you think that word means, Kel?
Yeah,
You don't
like-
agree with his definition. Like, what do you
No,
think
I
it
just don't
means?
think it's even our word to judge like the connotation of like what specific sectors
Here,
of another
let me
nationality
finish
or
the actual
race.
story.
Yeah,
here,
let
okay? 'Cause this is a good-
let Dev
okay.
finish, and then you
So-
can accuse him
So
of.
he calls Sargon calls them white N-words. The alt-right loses their fucking shit. And then it's a combination of right-wing people who are mass emailing Patreon due to the Ralph retort, Ethan Ralph, but also also with left-wing people who see an opportunity to get Sargon canceled, and so Sargon loses Patreon. And Sargon's going. This is a big drama back in 2018. Sargon's going back and forth with Patreon. He's publishing emails between them. He's doing all this stuff, and it comes out that like Patreon just wants him to apologize for saying a slur, even though it was off-platform. And everyone who had any sort of liberal sensibility back in 2018 said, this is ridiculous. You shouldn't be policing people's off-platform behavior when they're a guest on somebody else's channel. They're not even posting it to their own Patreon. This is too far, all right? And this was like a pretty common view back in 2018 at the time. So I agree with this, by the way. I think it's ridiculous for Patreon. Like if I decided to say a slur right now, should I lose my Patreon over it? It's not on my channel. It's like I'm not streaming.
Don't
right now.
don't
No,
say the
it's-
slur right now,
yeah,
please.
I'm not gonna
'cause
say a slur,
you're on
but,
my
like,
channel.
You
now.
should.
You like my
They
channel.
have the right to do that. They have the right to
No,
do that.
I don't
It's a private
I don't think
platform.
so.
Yes,
Yeah,
you.
sure, they're a private platform, but like, okay, what if I said a slur like with my girlfriend in my house and nobody's listening, but Patreon
Well, there's
has like
there's
a
reason,
spy
like,
camera in my fucking house? Like it'd be
you put
ridiculous,
that
right?
on
Like
the internet. You don't put that
Come
on the
on,
internet. Even
that's
on Wix
insane
channel, it would be
comparison,
on the
though.
internet. Like that is so insincere.
Yeah.
Like I
No.
know that you're not that retarded. I know that
okay,
you're not.
here. The
Like-
principle is I don't like the idea of these various social media platforms, whether it's Patreon or Twitch or Twitter, and they've all done this, policing what people who use their platforms do off of their platform. I think that's an overreach. I think that is not in line with liberal values.
If they were
But
saying
here-
bitch, sure. But if they're calling people white N-words, if you're saying like you're literally like a white N-word and knowing
No,
that
I think this
that-
applies to
that's
slurs as
some
well.
things that are
I think it
deceptive.
applies to
I think
it's
Dev
free,
has
it's
the
free
right
speech, man. It's free fucking speech. I think it
Dev's
applies
right.
to slurs.
Dev, can
I
I
don't know.
can
I
I ask you a
disagree.
clarifying question? Would you have a problem with them policing them off platform? Say like we're on Twitch right now, right? And Twitch
Oh, like
decided,
for Charlie Kirk. Like, what if you're talking about Charlie Kirk? Then it's okay to police.
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold
No.
on. So what if
Kel,
what if
give it
what
a
if,
second.
what if
Give it a second.
what if Twitch comes over and is like, oh, Wick's big swinging dick now, and gives them a contract. And in this contract, they go, well, here there's a morality clause, and it says we can terminate you if you do stuff off platform that violates what we deem immoral or whatever. Would you have a problem with them canceling it? Then I feel like your problem so far how it's been explained is you just have a problem with them can't like cutting you off like stuff off your platform without it. But if you agree to a morality clause, do you have a problem with them doing it then?
No, because you've consented now at that point. Now you've consented
Okay.
to that. Yeah. And by the way, this wasn't part of Patreon's rules back in 2018. So no one consented to this. So here. So I even got into the core of my point here yet, okay? So I basically said, I know that I'll probably never get big enough because this was back when I had like no subscribers in 2018. But I was like, I'm never going to get big enough to ever actually have a community or have a platform, I don't think. But I'm going to make a rule with myself that I will not ban people from my community for doing something in other communities. So if someone's running a harassment campaign in Wik's community, but he's not breaking any of my rules, I'm going to tell him, hey, listen, don't bring your drama to me. Wik can ban you. If Wik bans you, go talk to him about it. I'm not going to get involved. But also, I'm going to say to Wik, hey, Wik, listen, this guy, he hasn't done anything in my space, so I'm not going to ban him from my community just because he's being a shit stirrer in yours. You can handle him in your way, and I'll handle him in my way. So I kind of have this view of like, well, we each have sort of like sovereign little communities on the internet, and what happens in one should not necessarily transfer over into the next one that you enter into.
Okay.
And so people then ask me, well, how far does this go, Deb? Does this apply to being a pedophile? And I was like, I think about it for a minute. And I was like, well, okay, like what's the example here? Like do I know that, like, do I know this guy's heart if he's a pedophile or not? Because I can't actually know that, right? Like if a guy was accused of DMing kids on Twitter, on Discord, in somebody else's Discord server, but he wasn't doing any of that in my Discord server, would I ban him? And I'm like, well, okay, is there proof of it? You know, even if there's proof of it, has he violated any of my rules? And at the end of the day, like, I had to say, well, one, he didn't violate any of my rules, so I can't ban him for actually violating my rules. But I mean, I also probably wouldn't want to personally associate with a person like that, right? Just on like an individual level, where it's like, okay, even if you're not fucking around with any kids in my domain, you're doing it somewhere else, and I don't know if I want to be around you. It was that sort of thing.
This is very interesting. It sounds like you're describing it as a brand risk.
I was thinking the same exact thing.
No, not exactly a brand risk. It's more of it's more of like a personal moral thing, where it's like, I don't know if I just on a personal level want to be like around that kind of person.
Okay.
Fact.
Okay. We're gonna cycle out a little bit. So thanks for coming, Sumo. Or I'm sorry, Smug. I don't know why.
I'll let you.
Thank
I'll
you
let
for
you.
having
I'm
me.
sorry. It's cold. It's getting dark, and I don't have any lights in my car.
We'll see you later too. Thanks again.
Nice to meet you. Cool, bye.
See, man, what was her deal? She's just like parked
Kel-
on a side street, kind of going
Kel's
nuts.
comes
Medic
around every now and again. She's cool. So let me get some people in here. Okay.
Anyway, that is where the whole like Dev lets pedos into his Discord server thing.
Noted.
Because I was like thinking about it for a while. I was like, well, like if he's not doing anything in like my jurisdiction, is it really correct of me to say, hey, you were being a pedophile somewhere else? Now I'm gonna crack down. Like, it sounds kind of weird, doesn't it? You know, like I don't know.
I don't know if that
that's
sounds
the
weird
thing to
though.
do.
Like if I knew that Gibbs was like messaging little girls, I probably would ban him. Even if he
Well,
didn't
sure, but,
message
like,
little girls on my server.
well, okay,
I would hope
and you
you
know
would
what?
do that, right.
And you know what? I probably would too, actually, because but again, that's like a personal thing where it's like I don't like that. However, like Wick, I don't think you have a written rule in your community that says, you know, rule number 1, you can't be a pedophile.
Yeah, that's
anywhere
true.
in
I
the
don't
universe.
have that
It's
rule
not there,
specifically
yeah.
written, but there are some understood rules like that are just understood.
That's number rule
right?
101 on my Discord. We put the no pedo shit.
I didn't.
Bro.
It's
I
like
don't
one of
want-
those things where do I have to
That
write
shit
this as a
far
rule?
away.
Like, is this something that we have to be told?
No, listen,
like,
and listen.
it's
listen,
this
I
old joke.
completely
Just real
agree
quick,
with
it's this old joke that we used to do because we would get like weekly weekend briefings before we went on out for the weekend when we were on military bases and stuff when I was in the military, and we'd always joke that if they forgot to tell us like not to rape people, that it was okay to rape people. Like they're like, oh, Sarge didn't say it wasn't, that we shouldn't go out and rape people and things like that, because they would always list a bunch of stuff that we shouldn't do, like no drinking drive, no this, no X, no Y, no Z, and so it was just like
Sure, yeah.
kind of funny.
Well, the way that I view it is like, is it really correct if you have a rule that applies no matter where and when you are, right? Because I think if it comes to countries, we wouldn't accept this, right? Like if it's like here, America passes a law that applies to all people everywhere, even if they're outside American jurisdiction. Like that would seem insane. I think to all of us, that would be kind of crazy, wouldn't it?
Maybe a little. I'm not sure if it's too insane because I'm a big Pax America guy. Like if I
Well,
think
yeah. But like here's a great example, right? Like right now, France has a law where if you're a French citizen and you go overseas and you have sex with someone who is of age in that country but not of age under French law, when you get back to French territory, you will be tried and convicted of like molesting a child. And it's
like,
that seems kind of
with this.
that seems a bit fucked, doesn't it?
Does it?
I think so.
I don't know. If
It would
I would be
prevent
okay
self-tourism.
if America passed a law that says, hey, even if you go to Thailand to do it, if you're fucking 12-year-olds, we're going to prosecute you. I'd be okay with that
Well,
law.
Let me
Yeah.
look this up real quick.
Yeah, I think I'd be okay with that.
Just be
law.
globalist, right?
Would you not be okay with that law? Would you not be okay with a law that said, hey, it doesn't matter where you do it, if we have evidence and solid proof and you have a trial and all that, right? I'm not talking like extrajudicial shit, right? We'll put you on trial, we'll present the evidence, they have to convict you in court beyond a reasonable doubt. But if you go to Thailand or China or one of these other countries to fuck 12-year-olds, we will hold you account for that.
Well, how about this? The age of consent federal level in America is what, 18?
Depends on the state, honestly.
Well, sure. Okay, so a state that's where it's 18.
Sure.
In Canada, it's 16. If someone who comes to Canada and has sex with a 17-year-old, should they get charged with it?
Depends. It depends. I think that yes, honestly, if I, a 42-year-old man, was going to Canada to fuck 16 or 17-year-old, then I should face
Okay,
prosecution.
how about this? How about this? Weed's illegal in most of America, right?
Well,
Yeah, sure.
Wick, let's explore that scenario. Like you just said, if you
Let's
were
explore
going
the scenario of
to
me going to Canada to fuck
yeah,
17-year-olds.
let's just hold on. Let me just hear me out. If you were going to Canada,
You're not doing
no,
yourself
hold
a
on.
favor.
Hold on, I just want to see like where the line is here. We got like,
Okay.
So if you're going to Canada for the express purpose, I agree. Okay, cool. You groomed them. That's sus. Like, okay, they're like you're trying to hit some gray area. You know, that's
Hold on. If you were okay with that, would you be okay? Like, if you're okay with the 42-year-old man going, or someone who's like even 25 or whatever, going to Canada to fuck a 17-year-old and then coming back and facing no repercussions, would you have that same stance? Say I found a 17-year-old here in America, and I was like, hey, I want to fuck you, but I can't legally. So let's go to Canada first, and then I'll fuck you there. And then we can come back.
I would also agree. That's another wood chipper. I think, like that scenario, right? Like throw them in the wood chipper.
I think you might be breaking American laws with that.
That's.
Though.
I mean, no. I guess.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying
is that trafficking at that point?
Yeah, that would be
that's
trafficking.
all
Right? That's why we have that law.
I guess what I'm going with this is like, okay, so if it's all pre-planned and you're like organizing this, I think we're all in agreement. That's going to be, you know, like a wood chipper offense. Okay. Now, if you go to Canada to do that, I guess here's the question, right? Say you're like, I don't know, in Canada and you're some 42.
And I just happened to find a 16-year-old or 17-year-old to fuck.
Yeah,
I didn't plan it. It just happened.
It's like, I have a daddy kink. I want you now. Like
yeah,
you know,
I still think it's okay.
Like, let's just say hypothetically, they're like, you, me, Benjamin, right there. Are you wood chippering in that person?
I think that they should be prosecuted. Yes.
Okay.
This sounds like the Johnny Somali scenario where like this guy went to Japan and acted like a buffoon or something, and he was there on like a visa or whatever, and he got arrested by the Japanese government for committing a crime in Japan, but he didn't get sent to America to be prosecuted. You know, it's a different scenario, but
right. So here's what I was saying earlier, though, is that like weed is legal in a lot of America. It's not legal. It's it's illegal in a lot of America, but it's legal in Canada. You can come to Canada and smoke weed all you want. Should you then, like, when you come back to America, assuming that like the American government has a videotape of you smoking weed in Canada, should you be charged with some sort of drug offense? Like, I think the answer to that's obviously no.
I would say personally no, but I also don't think that it has to be universal, right? I don't think I have to agree with all laws applying in every country to acknowledge that some should, right? I don't think I see no reason I have to accept both.
Yeah, see, the way that I feel about it is just that like a country's laws should apply in its territory and not apply in not its territory.
I think it should apply to its citizens.
Really?
Yes.
I kind of agree with Dev because like when do you draw the line? Let's say rape is like you can be persecuted no matter what if you're a citizen of America. But like then switch to the weed thing. Well,
No,
what
yeah,
if
no,
the
I agree
what
with
if
Ryan in this. That
Congress?
there's some laws that I don't think should be universal, but there are some that I do think should be universal.
Well,
There are
hold on
some,
though,
like
because
rape
you
was a
say
great
like
example.
well,
Even if it's not
real quick.
legal to rape, let me finish real quick. Even if it's
Okay, go
not
ahead.
legal to rape, it's not illegal to rape someone in, like, say, South Africa or something, right? I think that if you are an American citizen, that if we find and catch you doing this, even if it's not illegal in South Africa, we should still prosecute you for it, because you should be held to certain minimum standards as a citizen of the country. They're just laws that you cannot break, no matter your locality. And I think that is one of those laws that you should not be able to break. Now, even if you
Wick
go
wants a new
to
world
Thailand
order,
or something.
one world government ruling over the entire planet.
The
This
WIC
is like
world government, yes,
slippery slope
absolutely.
stuff. So like, what if Congress is like, oh, weed is like too far gone. You're too far gone if you go to Canada and smoke weed. We're
Okay,
gonna
like,
arrest you when you
obviously,
get back.
like, the
Like,
laws that are silly for this, I would be against, and the laws that make sense for this, I would be for.
Oh, and I do want to point out really quickly here that just because we're having this sort of intellectual discussion about sovereignty and when should and shouldn't laws apply, none of this means that I'm in any way pro pedophile. And people who take this conversation to mean that are fucking retarded. Okay.
Fair. Okay. Being that
Very
said,
normal
I want to
thing to
give
have
it.
to
I want to
say.
give it to SFO-CIAL. SFO-CIAL had a couple things to say, and then Elijah, you have something to say. Go ahead.
All right. Well, actually, I do have to go soon, so I'm just going to break right into my challenge for Dev. What is
Okay.
so bad about polyamory?
I guess if everyone consents, obviously it's not that bad. But I mean, I think there's a reason that you see a lot of failed polyamorous relationships.
As opposed to monogamous.
I think most people can't do it, and it's probably really bad for most people to try. But for those few people that it actually works for, I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Great. So this sort of confirms what I was musing about backstage, that conservatism is for the mentally infirmed. And that's why you said conservatism and monogamy was great, because it's basically instructions for the masses.
In a lot of ways, yeah.
Okay.
I think there's something to that. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm in complete
Yeah,
agreement. It's instructions for the masses.
Well, it's like I don't know if you've read any Edmund Burke, but he kind of lays it out that way. Where Burke's views, to put them in like modern terminology, Burke's views are kind of like, life is hard enough. Things are really fucking complicated. So when it comes to stuff that we've pretty much already solved, like what should you do with your life? You know, maybe have a career, get a job, pay your bills, get yourself into a relationship, get married, have kids. You know, those things that are kind of pretty much solved, like we know what to do in most cases, you might as well just follow the life script. Because for most people, that'll just work. And that's okay.
Hey, well, you know, I actually, Soy, you're absolutely correct. The people that believe the things that Burke laid out are the infirm. I don't know if y'all know this. There's a famous person that I dislike here in Twitchverse that labels himself as a liberal, but they're a liberal, but they label themselves as a Burkean conservative.
Are you talking about
And I agree with
counterpoints?
that
You could
person.
just name him.
I agree that thank you. Missed my whole drop that I was going to do right there. I agree that counterpoints is a firm in the head. Thank you, Soyano. I appreciate that.
Do you
setup.
not like Burke?
No, I'm not a huge fan of Burke. I mean, he's okay. He's not my least favorite. You know, like
I'm pretty sure he's actually. I think he's pretty good. Actually, I like Burke quite a bit.
yeah, but okay. So that's perfect. You like Burke quite a bit. Would you call yourself a conservative?
A Burkean conservative? Probably not. No, I think Burke.
That's my case.
Burke,
Thank you.
Yeah. So Burke has good advice for average people doing average things, and it's solid. But I don't think he has any advice for people who are exceptional in either direction.
Okay.
Awesome.
Listen, I don't disagree with that take. That's not the issue I have. I have a problem with people like trying to label this as like that's inherently conservative, and they're going to pass this off as like if you believe in any other.
Okay, we
kind
can
of
have a
conservative,
counterpoints versus the
we're not
world
gonna
at
talk
some
about
other
that.
point. That's
Well, I'm
Yeah,
pretty
we're not-
sure
we're not
Burke
gonna
is
do that.
considered a
That's
conservative
different.
philosopher, though. Like he's not
Sure.
considered a socialist or something.
All right, well, we don't need to.
Okay, Elijah, go ahead.
The whole thing.
Or E. Am I saying your name wrong? It could.
Oh no, it's robot. But my question, I got two. One's quick. Dev, what's your opinion on the Canadian monarchy? Like, should Canada keep it? Should it become a republic? Like, I understand that like it's a very tradition and ritual oriented country, but like from my understanding, the king can do whatever he wants. It's just that like he has a bunch of precedent to be like, nah, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to let the people govern themselves, and they've been doing that for like almost 1,000 years or whatever. I don't know, but I'm wondering what your opinion is on that.
I mean, I don't think that's how the Canadian system or even the British system works. I think there's actually a lot of restrictions on the king's power because these are constitutional monarchies. They're not absolute monarchies. I don't really have any strong opinions on whether or not Canada keeps its monarchy or becomes a republic. I don't really care, to be honest. I know there's like lots
fair.
of it's kind of funny because like nationalism in the American sense is viewed as a very right wing phenomenon, but in Canada, all the nationalists are left wing in Canada because the right wing in Canada are monarchists, and the left wingers they want a republic. The left wingers in Canada, but it's becoming a republic is not a very popular position in Canadian politics, and I just frankly don't care. I don't think it would change much. I don't think it really matters.
Yeah, I was kind of oversimplifying the king or whatever. I know he has like limits, and it's more during like a crisis or whatever. But I just wanted to know. And my second one is for like irreverent centrists, kind of like you, and I'd call myself that too. Like who get up to shit on Twitter. Like how do you fucking, huh?
No, yes, I agree. Yes, that's what I
Go
am.
ahead with your question.
How should we like oppose the kind of Gramscian cultural rot that like the left and the right are both engaging in, trying to like seize the culture? How do we like get that back without becoming like fucking black-pilled? Because I can make fun of people on Twitter or be like, this is your logical inconsistency, but they don't care about that. How should we reach a larger audience, I guess?
There is only one possible way to do it. There is no other possible ways. And it will not be easy. It will actually be quite hard. You simply have to tell the truth as much as you can and lie as little as possible. Even if it's about something very tiny and mundane, like, for example, a girl who says that her dad heroically jumped in front of her when he actually didn't heroically jump in front of her. All right? You have to always adhere to the truth as you understand it, as best as you can, and understand it's going to be an uphill battle. It is not going to be easy. I actually had this conversation with Destiny on another stream a couple days ago, and I pointed out that like every time a right winger tells a lie about January 6th, or right now it's about like the auto pen stuff or whatever, they have a lie. It takes them 5 seconds to say. There's always a drop of truth in the lie, so it can't just be dismissed out of hand. And in order to actually fully untangle that lie and understand what that truth actually means and understand what the lie actually is, it will take you an hour of explanation. And that is blackpilling, to understand that your opponent's consuming. And by the way, I'm talking about the right. The left absolutely does this too. I can point to so many bullshit fucking bread tubers and socialists who do this too, all right? But right now we're talking about the right, so the right does it. You have to understand that they can lie faster than you can tell the truth, but you cannot stop telling the truth. And there's no easy way out of this conundrum. You just have to tell the truth no matter what, even if it costs you.
That's true, but like there are members on the left and the right who just simply don't care about truth. They just care about their cultural winning. I saw the right not give a crap that like half of their big accounts were just Indians, or Russian bots. Like what about the people who literally don't care about truth and just want to see their people win? Like
you cannot actually do much about them, but hopefully you can influence those who are following them.
Yeah, like one thing you can do is like point out that they're doing that, right? Like that's part of you telling the truth, right? As a truth seeker, one of the reasons I like going on a lot of panels and stuff is I find a lot of people do what kind of Dev just described, right? Where they spew out something that's half true, and I'm like, oh, I haven't heard about this, and then you start digging into it, and it's like, okay, well, that's not at all what happened, but it's interesting. Like I'm learning a new thing, and learning is radical, as we say over here. So,
real quick, what sounds like you're kind of describing, Robot, is the difference between like a rational person and an irrational person. People that are irrational and just believe a certain thing will just disregard the truth whenever they want to because it doesn't matter to them. We just
real quick, Aaron. Real quick, Aaron. If you don't have that butt plug in, you can't be on this panel.
Well,
Dev.
What? You're gonna have to.
It's
You're
fine,
gonna have
it's
to
fine.
elaborate.
We are
You're
friends.
gonna have
Don't
to pay
worry
for
about
it.
it.
You're gonna have to pay for it first.
Fine, I'll
Jesus
buy you the
Christ.
butt plug. It's
Okay.
I like.
Kind of-
I
And the
like.
tie.
Okay. Gibbs.
So,
Gibbs has something to say on the butt plug. Go ahead.
Yeah, on the butt plug for sure. No, I mean, hey, at least it's holding structure for the butthole. No, I guess. Listen, so here, I guess when you're sitting here going and saying, "Oh, these are lies," right? I can remember, Wick. You could probably tell me honestly, how long ago did I start talking about to you about the auto pen? Like months and months, even before Trump even got
You've been
elected.
talking about it since Biden got out of office. Yes.
Yeah, it's for a long time, right? And then, like, I feel like I've been going in on it. I've been like, we're gonna go deep down it, and then I come over here and I agree that both sides do where they have the nugget of truth thing, and then they just run with it, and it takes an hour. I agree absolutely, but I think it's funny that whenever you come here and I hear you say this, Dev, they're like, oh, that the right's doing this, and I know you were specifically only talking about the right in that little rant right there, and you said that you acknowledge the left doesn't, but whenever y'all sit here and you point these things out, and it's like, okay, it seems once again we're going to talk about the diversity of thought on the right versus left. The left side is very like extremely structured versus on the right, you're like it's like 15 different people. I've been talking about AutoPen. I haven't heard anybody talk about AutoPen until like maybe 3 months ago it started getting hot press, right? Because it was a personal interest. You know, same thing with the Epstein. That's a whole different group of Republicans. They're all very passionate about the Epstein. But like me, I don't give a shit. Like, yeah, if he's a diddler, throw him in the fucking wood chipper, right? Like, I just want my fucking taxes lower and shit. You know, all sorts of stuff. Like, you know, there's a lot of Republicans like that. There's all these different like individual groups, and I just think it's kind of interesting that once again we're coming back, and y'all just said that structure is for the average inept person or whatever, and it seems the Dems have a structured message, and y'all are sitting here already just dismissing things that there is fact to, like the AutoPin case.
I mean,
we will have a
I
debate on the
disagree.
AutoPin case another day, but no, I think
Sure,
it's
sure.
pretty silly. But yeah. Go ahead,
you know
E-Robot.
what?
Then
If
we're
you
gonna.
if you want an example of the other side
Yeah.
doing it, then Gibbs, like think back to Vosh and Destiny debating over Kyle Rittenhouse, right? And how ridiculous Vosh's position
Yeah.
was. That was a fucking insane debate. Where like very clearly the left wing bias that Vosh had that was so far against the truth, he couldn't even maintain it in his own fucking stream. Like this is something that ideologues do. It's not a left or a right thing.
Sure, but now we're
Well,
talking about
sure.
like I mean you brought up bread tubers as your example, but I mean like we're talking about
I don't even know what that is.
more institutional power, right? Like I mean Gibbs was talking about AutoPen stuff. Like I mean this is a Republican Party narrative, not like a bread tuber narrative or like a leftist streamer narrative. These are
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
even
and-
like
well,
scales, right?
I guess
he's
the other thing I want to add to
commenting
what
on the
Ryan's
similarity.
saying
The
is
thing
that
is, he's
it's like
commenting on the similarities.
well, I guess the other thing I want to add to what Ryan just said is it is a Republican narrative, but it's like there's not like one Republican narrative or like two major ones, right? With the Dems, it feels like you'll have an extremely manufactured message from the top all the way down to the smallest streamer. And so when I hear this, it's like y'all already have like
the truth. I understand. Yeah,
no,
very,
it's,
very.
and I guess
makes
this
sense
is the
now.
thing that I guess matters is like the truth versus fact debate. Like, you know, if enough people act on something, whether it's true or not, or factual or not, doesn't matter because now their truth is like in power. Like, I mean, sure, I guess we could argue that it's the truth because y'all just don't like facts, but that's fine.
I think it goes both ways. I think yes, the left does have like a kind of program they run with, but I also think the right has the same thing where the average Joe will like watch Fox News or MSNBC and they don't want to think critically, they just want to consume the narrative, you know? So how do you get like the average person to kind of break away and actually seek truth when most people just don't give a crap, you know?
There's no
We
easy
also-
question. There's no easy answer to that, man. It's just you have to tell the truth. You have to be accurate as you can, and you have to just hope. That's it. It sucks,
Well,
but that's all there is.
At the
Okay.
end, you can
That's
only
Okay.
hope.
Okay.
You can-
Just real quick, because
I
I
was
do want to
gonna-
get to as many people as I can.
Well,
before
Aaron
we-
didn't say much actually.
I know,
He
but
said
that's
one
we're gonna
thing,
let
yeah. Okay, yeah.
E-Robot here go.
I'll get out of
I
here.
did wanna add one last
Thanks,
bit
man.
to
Before
that
you go,
topic.
though, $5 from Megalag. Megalag says Aaron is one of Dev's mod, also former Marine and current femboy. So
Yep.
okay, go ahead.
He's transing out. It turns out
True.
No, I'm not. Who the fuck told you that?
the entire Discord.
Bullshit.
Okay, but you had something to say, Aaron. Go ahead.
So on that point, on the previous point, because I did want to tied up in a ribbon. At the end of the day, you can only hope that the truth, if said enough times, will convince people, as long as you speak it with conviction. Because at the end of the day, that's all you can hope for.
Yep.
True enough.
I agree,
Okay.
man.
Did you have something specific for Dev, or did you just want to say that?
No, I actually did have something.
Go ahead.
So I think generally my only current contention with GDev is your housekeeping as far as community stuff with
I know I'm very
with the
lazy.
whole
I know.
drama with all the drama like between like Kirsch, Aiden, blah blah blah, and like the whole VTuber stuff. Like you already addressed the VTuber stuff like way back when, but
Mhm.
I think you've kind of dragged your dick a little too long on the responses that you should probably make to all the allegations against you, because like it's like you can't go into any community that knows you or even interconnected with you without being berated for even like being connected to you. And half the time, it's always about a bunch of lies that can't be substantiated. And like because you've dilly dallied on the responses, it's it's gotten to a head point.
No, I understand, and you're correct. Like this is one of those things where it's literally just laziness on my part, and that's all it is. Like Wick, I know this is outside of your area of the internet, but I mean, there have been a number of allegations against me, not sexual ones, but like just allegations of like, oh, this guy's a
No,
shit.
some. Well,
Oh, really?
in the,
Oh, okay.
What are some of the
Used to be.
sexual allegations against
mainly
Dev?
like mainly like if I join a fucking server or whatever, it would be like go back to your lolly pedo defender, blah blah blah, and go back to your lolly chaser, blah blah blah.
Okay, yeah, but
Oh,
those,
that's probably going to be me being friends with food shops, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume that's what that
That's
is.
some, that's
Around
some pretty
food shots
strong
and
allegations.
usually people saying that you're defending Destiny when, if anything I've seen, you say that it might look good for him in the case, but there are some things that are definitely worth critiquing.
Oh yeah, no, I have very strong critiques of how Destiny has handled his personal life with regards to who he decides to share sexual experiences with. You can probably deploy a little bit more wisdom in that regard, I think. It would have saved him a lot of heartache and headache. But my take on that was that, yeah, we can critique who Destiny decides to share nudes of and who with. Maybe he shouldn't be doing some of that stuff. That can be pretty bad. But also that the opponents of his in that case are absolutely fucking unhinged and weaponizing the justice system against him. Like those aren't like those two takes aren't necessarily like contradictory. I think that's actually the correct thing to say about Destiny's case.
No, I agree, and I also think that there's a strong chance that Destiny has CSAM on his own data, since he basically just kind of willingly admitted it to Willie Mac.
Well, okay, so here, new information on that came out today because I've been keeping up with this because I intend to make a video on this at some point. But once the entire court case is done, I'm putting out a giant fucking video on this.
What's the new information that came out today?
The new information that came out today is that the Rose person wasn't actually real at all. Destiny never actually spoke to Rose. Yeah, Rose wasn't real. Destiny never actually spoke to Rose. She was actually a trafficking victim by the guy who he was talking to, who was pretending to be Rose for several years, and he was making her take various photos to be used in the catfish against Destiny. And this all came out in court documents like today.
Crazy shit.
Well, yeah, but
okay.
he was still receiving images of this person that was supposedly Rose, and many of those images are probably of a minor.
It's currently like
a trafficked minor.
It's not
unknowingly,
confirmed what age she
presumably,
was.
Yes,
Yeah, and either way, he didn't know, right? Which is kind of the important part. Like, if someone
He
sends you
he
a
probably
picture
didn't
of
know at the time, but now that we have hindsight, and now that we have like several years since then, he probably has had a chance to just get rid of it, but he hasn't.
well, I mean, first of all, you shouldn't be deleting things that might be necessary in court. Like, you can't just get rid of that shit.
No, like before the court thing even happened, he had the ability to get rid of it because it's been sitting around in his banks for years.
in his like Discord DMs, you mean? Like, if you scroll back far enough?
Like in his drives, and because he said that he had copies of everything.
Okay. You know what? I actually don't know where the law would fall in this. Like, if you have child porn on your hard drive, but it's actually relevant to a court case, and so you can't delete it because it's evidence, what happens to your hard drive? What happens to you? That's kind of a tough. I don't know where that goes.
I think you have
In the
to.
case of during a court case, that is tampering with evidence. Yes, but I'm talking about
Yeah.
before
I
this
have no
even
idea,
became a
but
thing.
this isn't Destiny versus the world. This is Dev versus the world, right? And
Yeah. So
Destiny
here,
wants to
here.
come on and answer for his CCM
We are getting a
crimes.
little
I'd love to host
yes.
that.
Yeah,
That'd be
here,
great.
here. To speak what you're talking about, Aaron, is like, yes. So like, Aiden Paladin had that ridiculous fucking manifesto on me that was like 90% lies. I should have responded to that when it first came out. I was lazy. That's just my fault, right? Kirsch had the 300 fucking page Google document that was full of nonsense. Anyone who read it knows it's full of nonsense, but because it's 300 pages, no one's gonna fucking read it. I should have replied to that. Yeah,
Even
I
all the
have.
things that were even all the things that were true were pretty much inconsequential to like you, like the arguments about saying that it was you in charge of the whole
Yeah,
gay ops
yeah.
shit and whatever.
Besides,
The issue
Paladin went
ultimately
after
is that
deep.
I've been too lazy to actually address these things, and that's completely true. I can't deny that at all. I should have responded to these things when they happen, but I'm just fucking lazy. Yes.
Okay.
Alright, that's pretty much all I got. Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming in, sir. Okay, other guy, M.
for
What do you
having me.
got?
Thanks, Aaron.
All right. This is less a debate, but more of a question. I've been wondering, has something happened between you and Lilith? Is like she's in no video at all from you for a long while, or even any mentions. In fact,
Oh no, Lilith and I are still friends. It's just that her real life has prevented her from doing streams or being in videos or anything. Nice Christmas tree, by the way.
ooh,
Oh,
very
it works?
pretty.
Yeah.
It doesn't show.
But no, Lilith and I are still friends. We still talk every once in a
Okay.
while, but like she has a very busy personal life, and there's been a lot of things that have happened to her that I'm not going to talk about on stream because it's her story, and she just hasn't had a chance to be on stream or do anything, you know. But she's still around. We're still friends.
All right, so fair enough. So to go
Is my
debate,
camera still on?
drama is fun, but this is a debate stream, I think.
Mhm.
Stir the pot a little bit. You a
Is my
few
camera still
occasions
on?
Hold on,
had
Because
stop. Hold on, just real quick. Z, wait your turn. You'll get here. I
Yeah,
promise.
Zed, your camera's off. Your camera's
Yeah,
off.
your
Man.
camera is off.
okay.
But go ahead,
That's
M,
it. I was
please.
wondering. So.
I can put my camera, but I'm at work, so
Just give us what you got. We don't need cameras today. Go ahead.
fair enough. So, stir the pot a little bit. You've said on a few of your videos that, according to you, the NDP, which is also known as the New Democratic Party of Canada, for those that don't know, is a far left, and I think you've even said a communist party. Can you explain yourself on that? Because always kind of baffled me.
The NDP is Canada's far left party. It is a socialist party. I don't think I've called it a communist party. If I did, maybe jokingly. But the NDP is a socialist party.
Perhaps. Yeah, because I like they're far left compared to the liberals, perhaps because the liberals are barely left to begin with, in my opinion. But
No,
like
yeah, that's probably
objectively,
fair. Like Trudeau was a progressive, and Carney is like a neo-lib. So they're like the center to center left party, the Liberals. But yeah, the NDP are like Canada's socialist party. Yeah, I think it's fair to say that.
yeah, fair enough. I just like
okay.
Can I ask you a question just for like clarification here? Because you said something on earlier, right? Like earlier, you were talking about how you're in right wing groups and they think that Trump is a leftist, right? Okay, and then someone else mentioned how some positions from the left, like in the '90s, have become right leaning, like I don't know, border security, for example. You know, like I've said, Trump's like a New York Republican, basically a Democrat, right? I equate him very similar to Bill Clinton in policy, you know, in many ways. So I actually do feel he's kind of a lefty or moderate lefty or center right maybe now because of Overton window shift, right? But he's not like a far righty, you know, like some of y'all are making it out to be. I think he's more populist in the up down narrative instead of the left right kind of thing. But when I'm sitting here and y'all are going like this, like, do you think that Bill Clinton would be a person on the left today, or do you think he'd be moderate? Like, what do you think policy wise? Where does that stand? Like based off like how you're like just so I can like figure out your range.
There is a problem with using left and right the way that we're using it because Hassan Piker would call Bill Clinton right wing easily. It's not even a debate for him, right? Here's the thing: the position that
where do you rank him?
Yeah. So I think like Bill Clinton is like center to center left. Yeah. I think the problem with your position, this idea that Trump is a 90s Democrat or a 90s, I hear that all the time. I'm not actually radical. I'm just a normal guy from 20 years ago. I hear that all the time, right? The issue with that is that no 90s Democrat would ever in a million years have dismantled U.S. aid. That would not have happened. Bill Clinton would have never done that. Al Gore would have never done that. Obama would have never done that. John Kerry, whoever, they would have never done that. The fact that Trump has done that means that he has moved out of that 90s liberal paradigm. The position that you have might have made sense in 2016. Actually, I think it makes a lot of sense in 2016. It does not make sense now. I think things have moved beyond that.
Yeah, I don't really see a world where a left-wing politician flashes into social services. Like the left wing's big idea is like the daddy state, the caregiver state. Like the moment you go into that, can't call anything left wing, personally.
What do you mean?
Well, I think, me, I'm from Quebec. So from a Quebec politics standpoint, looking at the Liberals and Quiet Revolution, like the left wing revolution of Quebec was based on increasing social services, taking all of the things that the church used to do, housing the poor, feeding the poor, teaching people, and putting all of that into the public. You take the energy, you make it public. You increase the social services, you make the government handle almost everything as much as it can. Like, so to me, that's like a core tenet of left wing. So the moment you start slashing into those, the moment you start talking about giving things to the private, you're not left wing. It's over.
Well, keep in mind, though, that, first of all, Canadian politics is different from American politics. And secondly, Quebec politics is different from the rest of Canadian politics, right? Like, the Quebec nationalists are very economically left-wing and very socially right-wing. When you start talking about those kind of groups, these distinctions start to break down a bit. They stop being as useful.
Well, that's fine, but I mean, I think that the point stands or holds that these kind of maybe 90s Democrat even 90s Democrats. I assume I actually don't know that much about the 90s and early 2000s Democrats because I wasn't politically active until a decade ago. But I mean, would they have been for the slashing of things like Medicare or Social Security, and pushing for these things? I feel like that's the modern right, which is, Gibbs calls it populist, which, they use a lot of populist rhetoric, but I mean, the people that get hurt the most by this are the people that they're claiming to fight for when they use this rhetoric. So
that's true. Yeah. Lots of right wingers are disproportionately poor, and a lot of them are being hurt right now by a lot of the government cuts. That's true for sure.
Yeah,
I do think that the populist right is truly populist, though. It's not simply only just adopting populist rhetoric. I think there are actual populist things the right does. It's just that they're bad because populism's bad, in my opinion.
I feel like populism generally isn't that good. I would agree with you because it's a manipulate. It's a way to manipulate people. It generally doesn't lead anywhere. But I don't really see when the right is populist, it tries to appeal to fear, whereas I feel like when the left is populist, it tries to appeal to the needs of the people more than trying to put the blame on something else.
I don't know about that.
I don't think I agree with that. I think both populists do both of those things in fair measure. I've seen a lot of left-wing fear-mongering. I've seen a lot of right-wingers talk about what's good for the people. I think this is just populist rhetoric in general.
Okay, I want to give Z a chance to get in here. Z, go give us what you got.
Hello. I have few questions for Dev. First, about the Canadian truckers? When they froze their bank accounts, do you think they should have responded in any way violent or not, or do you think they don't have the right to it because of their protest?
I didn't quite understand based on your.
So
accent,
I got you. When the truckers in Canada, when they got their assets frozen, right? Should they have responded violently?
I think that freezing the assets
Because
of the truckers, with the exception of a couple dozen of them, because we did actually find out that some of them had stockpiled weapons, and there was like caches of guns were discovered in some places. But for the vast majority of freezing the assets, a lot of the trucker shit that happened, that was legitimately government overreach. This is one thing. This is one point of contention that I have with Destiny, where Destiny will mention sometimes the Canadian trucker protest in the same breath as America's January 6th. I think he does it because they're both forms of like a right-wing uprising against the government. But there are significant differences between them, because the truckers in Canada had a much stronger truth value to their claims than the January 6th people in the United States. And people say, "Oh, well, no, it's just the case." All right, I've got like here. People say this. It's a meme in my community now for like 5 fucking years. Dev, where's the trucker video? Again, I'm lazy. 90% of my problems stem from the fact that I am lazy. It's just that simple. Okay, but I did do a Trudeau video around the time of the most recent Canadian election. And I had a trucker section in that video. And I outlined in that trucker section, I said, listen, this is not like January 6th. All right. The truckers had a much stronger claim against the government than the January 6thers did. It's like, and that is just the objective truth, that Trudeau massively overstepped in a way that the American government on January 6th did not overstep. And
Oh yeah.
and the claims made by the truckers were just a lot stronger than the claims made on January 6th. They're not the same type of event.
Okay.
And so
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Finish your point, but then we're gonna cycle these two out, and we got the final three.
Well,
okay.
I'm pretty sure Zed had a few more questions. So like,
yeah.
He barely. Okay.
Okay.
But yeah.
Give
Go
him a
ahead.
shot.
Okay, the same question applies for you said on a stream a few days ago. You said some people actually lost their property because the judges gave their property back to some tribe or something. Do you think those guys should respond in any violent way because they lost their property? That's not just losing asset property. Imagine losing your house because the judge said a tribe owns it a few hundred years ago or something.
I know exactly what you're talking about. For those of you who aren't Canadians here, I'll give you the quick rundown. You have some very far left judges out in Vancouver on the west coast of Canada. By the way, you feel free to look this up. This is in all of our Canadian news. I'm not making this up. I'm not pulling it out of my ass. Okay, so go look it up. They have ruled. This judge has ruled that due to Canada's increasing self-flagellation when it comes to various land back movements and native rights movements, that a whole bunch of privately owned houses in Vancouver have now been handed over to some tribal authority. And so if you own a house, you're fucked. You can't sell it because it's not your private property anymore. And there's a whole bunch of a fucking uproar right now in Canada because now you have a bunch of other tribes who are coming along and saying, "Oh, if we can start getting land from white guys, we should fucking do this." And it's starting to become ridiculous.
Well, hang on. So this is like my quick search. It sounds like the justification for this was that they were upholding like treaties and title rights.
Yes, but that's bullshit.
So that's not, well, is it bullshit to uphold legal treaties?
Yes.
Yeah, treaties with treaties.
No. It is bullshit. It is bullshit.
Yeah, you know what? You know it is bullshit because if we don't uphold the water treaty with Mexico, and Mexico's not upholding their, we should be invading them because they don't uphold the water treaty with Texas. Do you agree with that, Radical Cutter? We should invade Mexico because they're not upholding it. Well, they're not upholding it. So,
so here.
Let Dev finish his point. Let Dev finish his point.
So here, let me put it this way: like imagine if a whole, like, just large swaths of the United States was given back to tribal authorities because of an ancient treaty from several hundred years ago, right? Like, even if it is on paper correct, and even if you think it's morally correct, it would destroy your society. All right, it would destroy it for nothing. It's one of those things where, like, okay, yeah, we can feel bad about the fact that white people managed to conquer and subjugate and implant a new society on top of the bones of Native Americans. Fair enough. But at this point, if you're going to start taking houses that people bought fairly and they believe they were engaging with the system in good faith and doing the right thing, you're going to take that from them and give it to a tribal authority because of basically you're establishing a new precedent from a treaty that hasn't been enforced or respected for several hundred years now, out of some sense of I don't know, racial equity or some shit. Like, you are going to destroy your society doing this. And I think Canada is going to start going down a dark path if they do this. Because, yeah, you know what? Here, oh, no, I'll just grant you the case that on a basic moral level, pretty much all of Canadian territory should be native territory because white people.
I'm not even talking about that. So
but like,
to be
we
clear,
conquered it from them. It's ours now.
To push on that, like what I'm curious about is what if these judges, their ruling is like they are reflecting, like upholding the law as it's written. Like, do you think that they should make what you deem as the more practical ruling, even if the laws don't align with that? Like, because it's unreasonable from your standard to give land back to these people.
I think if this happened to me and I lost my house because of this, I'd go crazy. Let's face it. You lose your house because the judge said you lost it because of a treaty, you'd go crazy. Especially if you bought the house with your
terrible. Yeah. No one's saying it feels good to lose your house. Like, that's obviously.
Yeah.
Now, do keep in mind in Vancouver, and Vancouver is a city, and any loss of Vancouver is a win for Montreal, which is objectively a good.
Listen, Vancouver is one of the most expensive places to live in the world for a reason. Like, it's actually a decent city, to be honest. But here. Well,
just before you go, $5 from No Fucking Way to say this Canadian is making a great case for why XX shouldn't vote, just XY. XX can't build stable societies. XX is giving away houses they don't own. Anyway, go ahead.
So here. If it turns out that like the judges, it just ends up the judges have their hands tied and they couldn't rule any other way per the letter of the law, then it is now Parliament's responsibility to come in and to sign a new law to give the people their fucking houses back, because it's what has happened, in my opinion, is ridiculous. Now, if it turns out that Canada is going to be ruled by like the most, the craziest right-wing boogeyman version of like an anti-white regime that just wants Canadians to self-flagellate. If we get to that point, then I think Canadian society breaks down at that point, man. Like, I think we're fucked if this doesn't get overruled somehow.
New panel: should we take in the Canadian refugees? Okay, or should we close our borders?
Hey, do it.
Absolutely not. They're not sending their best. They're sending.
Picture this: you've worked hard in your life. You bought a house finally, and some judge out of nowhere gives your house to someone else. Don't you go crazy after that? Let's face it.
But this already happens in like normal society. Right? There are legal rulings. Yes, there are legal rulings that repossess property and that change ownership. Like, this happens. I'm sorry.
Eminent domain.
Of taxes.
I guess Ryan, what I'm asking.
Let Z finish. Z finish your point quickly.
Oh, imagine you worked your whole life. You bought a house. You didn't do anything wrong.
Yep, and then it's taken from you. Get you. I got you. We got your point.
Yeah.
It would feel terrible, and I would expect some sort of restitution, ideally, right, from the government.
Can I complete the point? And out of nowhere, a judge says your house belongs to some tribe because of 300 years ago that you have nothing to do with. You bought your house. You've paid the money for the house. You don't owe anything about it, or you're still paying the debt for the house or something. Basically, the house is yours, and you did nothing wrong, and suddenly you lose the house. Don't you go crazy at that point? Come on.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I agree.
Saying it's without restitution, yeah, of course, but that doesn't mean that the ruling was not legal, right? That's so I'm having two conversations.
Exactly, and to be fair, like, I lived and worked in communities that were cities that were partly owned by native communities. I see, and it's legitimate. Like, it creates development. They were building housing. Like, they were improving the local economy and such. If it's just a matter of, this zone is in disrepair anyway, the value is garbage, why not just give it to a third party that they can develop and improve, create some community? It can be a win-win scenario depending on where the lines are drawn in the sand, personally.
I think that we should draw all the lines in the sand that benefit me and that are detrimental to my enemies. But thank you, both of you, for calling in. We do gotta cycle you out. I do appreciate you both calling in.
Can I say one last thing?
What's up?
Yeah,
real quick.
Arch was right. That's it.
Okay.
Fuck you. Get out of here.
Arch was right.
What was he right about, Dev?
It's just a meme over in Arch's community.
Okay, these are the last guys. Well, I guess we could bring in.
Oh my god.
Everyone
three of
gets a
them,
chance.
too.
Everyone
Wait,
gets a chance who
everyone?
hasn't gotten a
Oh,
chance
alright.
yet.
Wait, are you running out of time, Wick? Is that what's going on here?
Yes, I am running out of time because you know why? Unless you guys can give me $100 in super chats
Oh my god.
in the next, let's say, by the time it takes us to get through these guys, then the stream will end. So we are holding this stream hostage. If you've enjoyed
Wick's
this
gotta go use
content,
McDonald's, guys.
$100 super chats, one Benjamin Franklin. Okay, that's what we need. Anyway, thank you all for coming in. We're gonna give it to, I guess, Dr. Darko first, and we'll just go around. Doctor, what you got?
And I'm wondering what you think the outer limits of DEI should be. Like I know that, as someone who's watched most of the videos on your channel, I don't think you explicitly hate black people. And I think you'd be like, like for, like some sort of like scholarships or whatever to get, like rural black trans women into game development, if they're underrepresented. But
Hold on, just real quick, Dr.
do you think
Darko, are you just radical coder with glasses? Is that what's going on here? Like you look like the
Shut up.
same
All right.
fucking person.
The second I turn my camera on, no, I'm in a closet and they're not.
Okay. So, listen, when it comes to DEI, I think, Wick, I was on your channel when you had David Jaffe on here, and this was what, like
I
9
remember.
months ago or something?
Mhm.
Yeah. And I remember asking him the question, like, okay, let's say you have two people who you're interviewing for a job, right? And you objectively look over all of their work history and their education, and one of them's black and one of them's white. And let's just say the black guy happens to be like 5% less qualified than the white guy based on his resume. Okay? And your company is full of white guys. Now, do you hire the black guy so you have some black representation in your company, or do you hire the white guy because he's 5% more qualified? And I said the proper thing to do is to hire the white guy because he's 5% more qualified, because the qualifications are what matter. The demographics of your team are not what matter, because fundamentally we are all the same, in my opinion. So, in terms of like DEI, if DEI means, so here's a great example. I saw there was a fucking right-wing retard named Yorch Torch Games, and he said that Expedition 33 was a DEI game because it had black NPCs in it. That's fucking retarded. There's no problem having black characters in video games, and you're just like you're a fucking like degenerate moron if you think otherwise. But if we're talking about, the ideal form of a purely meritocratic society is one in which race is not a factor. But a society in which race is not a factor means that you don't give black people any advantages for being black.
For sure. Okay, so I guess just to like kind of ground this out, when you say like 5% more qualified, say for the sake of argument, we're talking about two fresh like college grads, and one has like a 5% higher GPA than the other one. Like, do you really think that like that is truly like 5% more qualified for any given role that they're interviewing for?
I mean, it may or may not be how it shakes out, because there's tons of other factors there, right? But I don't think race should be a factor.
Yeah, I would agree with you that I don't think that race should be a factor, but I think if you take unknown bias out of hiring decisions, like one race gets hired at the same rate as the other race.
Mm-hmm.
Aren't most
That's
DEI
fine
programs, like when they have like when we talk about equity, it's equality of opportunity of outcome, right? So the idea is that we're increasing the hiring pool, we're increasing the amount of people who are considered for the job. So generally, it's that black people are less likely to be in the potential pool in the first place, and so they're trying to expand those pools, and then they do then go from there and start hiring based on merit. It's just that they are getting the chance to participate in that path.
Well,
like that,
sure,
that's the goal of DEI, and maybe we can point to individual examples that fail at that, but that's certainly like what these programs are ostensibly about.
Sure. I understand that, right? Like I'm not going to be the person who says a black person who was qualified for a job should not get a job because they're blacks. I don't believe that. I think that's ridiculous, right? But I definitely think there have been instances where DEI programs, whether by design or because they've been warped, have ended up putting minorities into positions where they shouldn't have been in those positions.
Yeah,
I know.
So the mismatch hypothesis that. Sorry.
Yeah. I think you know what I'm talking about. the thing where I forget what study it was, but a study showed that you have like a university that will have seats like slots in programs for black students only, and so they would pick black students that ended up not actually qualifying for those programs, and then after a year or two they would drop out, and now they'd have a dropout on their record, which never looks good on an academic record, and two, they have possibly student loans to pay off, and three, they're back where they started. So like the DEI actually hurt them in that case because they just weren't able to be in that program. So yeah, it's that situation that I do want to avoid.
Yeah, and I do think so. The mismatch hypothesis. I think the data like surrounding that is mixed. I mean, I can send it to you later if you're interested.
Sure.
But like, and I do think that affirmative action like is like a real example of an attempt at DEI. But I don't think imperfect like implementations of DEI should discredit the whole thing. Like that would be like appealing to detransitioners to discredit like transness. I feel.
No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean, but like, I still think that man, there was. I don't remember exactly what this was, but I have a basic feeling of it. There's an idea that if you just take people's names and photos off of resumes and then just hire the people who are best for that job or something like that, or best to be in this program or whatever the case is, that's probably the ideal way to do things, even if that means less black people get in, because you're still looking at their qualifications and not their race.
Yeah, I guess maybe there's a more fundamental like disagreement here about like like the like being more qualified for a role. Not to do the ultimate skeptic like Weasley bullshit, but like truly to judge someone's resume about how well they'd be a fit. It's like, oh well, like this person has a 3.72 GPA and this one has a 3.76. Like obviously they're significantly more qualified. Like I. Does that make sense?
No, I know what you mean, because some things cannot come out in a resume, right? Like you could have all the great credentials in the world, and it turns out you're actually a shitty person, and you're not really that fun to work with. And like and also like different workplaces have different standards. I think people who complain about DEI on the internet, they're like dumbing down the issue into they're only focusing on one variable when actually hiring for a workplace is like hundreds of variables in actuality. And sometimes they're right about that one variable, but it's still hundreds of variables and they're not looking at the rest of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I don't know.
Here. Just... I'll lay it out like this, right? I assume we all agree that like if a black person is just not qualified for a job, he shouldn't be hired to like tick off a diversity quota box. Obviously, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah. I think a lot of right wingers, they see that happen. It does happen sometimes. They want to avoid that. They probably overstate their case, I think, but it's not like it never happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess so.
Okay,
I don't think.
To finish your point, but I do want to get the other people in here. So yeah.
I have a quick bookend as well after. It'll be very short, but
yeah. And like, I don't think race should be an important hiring consideration. Like on its face. But in the same way that like I want more like rural people, like farmers, to have more of an engagement in like game development because they probably have some ideas that most of the urban people like haven't even thought of.
Why would hold on just real quick? Why would a farmer? Why? Why would you want a farmer to be?
So listen, I'm just gonna.
Ideas, all right, Wick. Why you weren't on?
I just don't know like what like there's no real benefit to a farm. Like we don't have enough farmers in game development. I've never heard that ever.
Again, it's a culture thing, right? Like urban versus rural culture is different, and in the same way that like white and black culture is different. Like there's different vocabulary, there's different like aspects, like there's different ways to approach problems. I'm sorry, one more time.
Yeah, can you elaborate how specifically white and black culture are different? Maybe.
Vocabulary for one, like
what are some words that black people use that whites don't?
Well, yeah, any specific
like woke, AF, like most of like the Twitter
right?
slang.
These are proper ways to use the word, but
yeah. But yeah, I think people, like I want to treat everyone the same, but in reality, people approach things differently based on their upbringing. Like they engage with different problems in weird ways, and an outsider's view is oftentimes helpful and can make things more successful. So selecting for that, I don't think is the worst thing in the world, and I think a lot of the data kind of points to that being the case.
And my bookend, I was just going to add that when we talk about the, I think you guys were with the mismatch hypothesis stuff. I think we were talking about affirmative action there. I agree. There were people who probably were in a bad situation due to like being in college when they maybe weren't as qualified to do it. But I think there were also a lot of people who got those opportunities. Probably the majority of people who got into those programs who actually found themselves in a situation where they were getting opportunities and able to get degrees that they might not have been able to get otherwise. And I think we got to look at both sides of that coin, right?
Assuming they deserve them. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Okay.
Hold on, just real quick. When we talked about this a couple hours ago, I mentioned that like a lot of the old racism of like the 70s is kind of gone at this point. I do believe that a lot of it's just done and over with. Maybe it's coming back now, but I think a lot of it, at least until 2020, it was done and over with. It was gone. So I think in an environment like that, the continued push for DEI just had didn't really have much of a purpose to exist at that point.
So yeah, I do you hang out with a lot of like black urban youths? Like I don't know, like
are you the Black Whisperer? Can you tell us what the black urban youths are thinking?
I have black friends, but I don't know about black urban youths. I don't know what you mean by that.
I have hung out, or so through work, I have hung out with groups of black people who like 10 to 20% of the words that they're saying are definitely English, and I can understand what they're saying after a while with some context. But truly though, like it's
another language. Is there a word for that?
Yeah, AAV. Or well, there's an acronym. The
African American Vernacular. Yeah,
yeah.
Okay,
that's not the word I was thinking of. But
okay, yeah, I do want to get other people in here though before we go
that's
too.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
And I know that Gibbs has to go. So Gibbs, you want to give us a real quick outro, and then we'll go.
Oh yeah, thank you so much for having me, Wick. This has been fun. Dad, thanks for bullshitting with us. It's been very enjoyable. And Ryan as well. Y'all have a good rest of y'all's night. I'm going to go yell about Venezuela now for the rest of the night. And check out Wick's show next week about Venezuela.
Yeah, check it out. It'll be fun, gang. Okay, see you later.
All right, y'all. Thank you.
Okay, so some of the rest of you. I'm a Bird, Puffin, Masta, and D. What do you got for us?
All right, well, Zed basically did all my questions there that I wanted to ask Dev about the indigenous stuff and everything.
Oh, the indigenous. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't have anything on that. The only thing I have is that I wish you'd talk more about Canadian politics. It'd be nice to have more insight from you about that.
I'm gonna be honest, man. Ever since Carney took office, it's been boring in Canada. Like,
well, I agree with that. Yeah,
things like Carney is an institutional neolib. He worked for the Bank of England for a few years. He was like the economic advisor to Stephen Harper for a few years. Like, Carney is the kind of career bureaucrat who knows how to run large institutions and how to govern. Basically, he knows how to rule a country, and so he's taken over from Trudeau, and Trudeau was a fucking drama teacher who managed to skate by on his father's good name because his father was one of Canada's best prime ministers, and Trudeau fucking sucked. Trudeau fucking sucked. But now Carney's come in, and like he's righting the ship. Things are very slowly but very steadily getting better in Canada in a very boring fashion, because he just knows what he's doing, and it's going to take a long time to fix a lot of the problems. But it's just kind of nothing's happening in Canada right now, man. It's just kind of boring.
True.
Comparing.
Can I just say I miss
is actually because like in America there's like a new scandal every fucking day.
I would love to be bored out of my mind with American politics right now.
Imagine if America's president was a boring, bureaucratic, neoliberal centrist who had run various multinational institutions for 20, 30 years of his life, and he just kind of quietly knew what he was doing. Imagine what your political situation would be.
God, you're making me so hard right now. Okay, I am so turned on. Okay, no, but it would be a blessing if we had boring politics in America again, but we don't. So
rather than Trump going,
and at least we can make some money off of this. So guys, just a reminder, you guys got to keep giving me money if you want to keep this content flowing. So hit the super chats in, throw me some gift subs, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't. All these things. I do want to give it to Puffin Master. Go ahead. What do you got?
Hi. So my quibble with Dev, I like Dev, but my quibble is so you've said that you think that Sargon started off as like a genuinely left-wing person or like a liberal person.
Liberal, not left-wing. Yes.
Okay, so I found you through watching Sargon. I kind of regret watching Sargon in my younger days. Looking back, it seems like he was using like anti-SJW rhetoric and those kinds of videos to basically bait people into his like very right-wing sphere. I see someone very so. I like so. For example, like, can you name like can you think of something that because you said that you were like going back through and watching his videos. Can you think of something that he was like basically like died on the hill of a left wing point or like a Democrat point, like at any point during his like video?
Yes. So I have been going back and watching like 2015 to 2018 era Sargon for a reason that is currently private but will be made public soon enough.
Ooh, some foreshadowing, gang. But go on.
And yes, I actually can. I can think of at least 2 instances. So at one point, I think in 2017, he debated ContraPoints. And ContraPoints, at that point, I think even ContraPoints was more left-wing then than she was now, because she was arguing like a quasi-Marxist perspective, while Sargon was like arguing a very like liberal individualist perspective in that debate. And he was saying things in that 2017 debate he would never say nowadays. Like Sargon in 2025 does not really care that much about the rights of the individual. He cares about the rights of the English as an ethnicity, as a community. And he's become much more right-wing in that regard. But he was talking about individualism like crazy in that 2017 debate.
He was speaking about individualism in the context of a left-wing collectivism. As soon as he was given the opportunity to talk about right-wing collectivism, he immediately bit into that. It's that like we're going to be pro-free speech when we're not, when we're talking, and then when we have power, we're anti-free speech. Is that kind of crap?
I'm not sure he did that in that 2017 debate. It sounds like something he'd do now, but I don't think he did it back then, because I did just recently watch it, and I don't recall that sticking out in my mind. Another example of it was when he was talking to the white nationalist Millennial Woes, and I used this clip in a recent video of mine, actually, from a few days ago. And he was talking to Millennial Woes, and he was in a room with a whole bunch of alt-righters, and he was basically telling all of them, no, you guys are all wrong. And he was kind of presenting the liberal individualist point of view in that debate. And it was like a 1v9. Sargon, the only liberal in the room, versus all these white nationalists. This was back in 2015. And then, of course, I think there was like the legendary debate where it was Sargon versus Richard Spencer, and that was on Andy Worski's show. And Sargon, again, presented the liberal point of view. It's really only after, like, I really think that Trump losing in 2020, like, broke everyone's brains. And I think it really broke Sargon's brain, because he started moving right-wing very quickly after
Was it that or COVID?
I mean,
probably like a 1-2 punch, maybe, yeah.
Because
I mean, I remember, like, for example, I remember there was you'll notice every time he takes like the more left wing position, it's either kind of in a context where it doesn't like no one's advocating the right wing position, or he's against people that at the time were like politically irrelevant, right? Like WordPress right now are kind of starting to edge their way into MAGA, but like at the time, these people were, even to Republicans, were considered freaks, right? It every time that he was like put in in a discussion versus like mainstream left wing stuff versus mainstream right wing stuff. It doesn't matter how crazy the mainstream right wing shit was. That was where he landed. So, for example, like there was like, and he would always try to package it in a way that was palatable to left wing people. So he would say, like with the climate change stuff, it was like, yeah, climate change is real, but like, why are we talking about cow farts, right? Which is clearly like a bad faith attempt to like, maintain that narrative that he's left wing while like trying to give a right wing talking point and a response to a left wing talking point. Does that make sense?
When did he say this though? 'Cause I don't remember this specific. Approximately when this happened.
I used to watch his channel like daily, basically. So this is just probably just some random This Week in Stupid that I watched that just got stuck in my brain.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I have to look up exactly when it was, right? Because at this point,
it was after a significant. It was after a point when the parliament over there across the pond was talking about like a climate change issue. So like he came back from that. He was doing that stuff with Count Dankula, trying to get into mainstream politics. It was around that time.
That would have been 2019 in UKIP, I think, and that was definitely when Sargon had started to become more right wing for sure. Like I agree with you on that. Like here, we're not going to disagree that Sargon's definitely right wing now. But listen, I promise you, if I had the time to sit down with you and like pull up 2015 Sargon, it would be very easy to point out, oh, here's a liberal position, here's a liberal position, here's a liberal position. Like it wouldn't be very hard.
If you do that in a YouTube video, I will watch it.
All right.
Okay, maybe the foreshadowing is telling us something. I don't know. $10 for Dr. Darko to say I love you. Well, I love you too.
All right, wait, keep doing this. I like this.
Yeah. You like this kind of style? You like the format?
I like to participate because I'm broke.
Okay. D, let's give D a chance. Go ahead, D.
Okay. Hello. You guys can hear me okay?
Yeah, you're fine. Go.
Awesome. Okay. So hi Dev, long time watcher. So I'm gonna try to come at this with like a right wing disagreement because I'm still pretty right wing in my opinion. So
sure.
So like, I think it was 2 videos ago you said something along the lines of the right wing killed discourse in like before that you had political discourse that was like, oh, both sides kind of agreed on what was best for the country, but the right kind of disagreed on how to go about it. And like the left disagree with how to go about it, and now like the right is saying, "Oh, they want to destroy us" and stuff like. I'm misremembering a bit, I think, but it was something along.
I think I know what you mean. I think I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I remember that I left a comment and you responded to it along the lines of like, well, before Trump, and I think the argument you were trying to make was, well, the reason the right is worse now is because Trump is in office and he's saying all these horrible things. And I think I said something along the lines of, well, I don't think that's true because he's more a symptom of the current climate we've had. Like we've had this since.
I think I recall this, and I think I know what you mean. Yeah, I think I recall this conversation.
I feel like people like I don't think Obama was like the worst president ever, but I do think his 2012 debate with Mitt Romney was like not great. I feel like that definitely at least opened the door into the rhetoric that would see stuff like the 2014 Gamergate, the weird rise and like the what would you even call it at this stage? It's like back then it was social justice warriors, now it's wokeism. I think that started with Obama, and right now I think Trump is more a symptom of that. Like, wouldn't that be fair to say?
Well, here, just real quick, when you said that the 2012 Romney-Obama debate was bad, what do you mean by that?
So Obama was particularly super condescending. He said stuff like, "Oh, well, Mitt, you like the Cold War was over." Like Mitt Romney's concerns, like the concerns of like, "Oh, hey, there are all these problems that we're facing," were sort of like dismissed and mocked as like, "Oh, he's like an old guy who's like doesn't know what's good for the country." And that like little by little opened this weird, like not wokeism, like the smug liberal cliche that conservatives like to talk about. Like I still see talked about a lot.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
So, like I feel that that's sort of opened the door to this concept of like, oh yeah, we're so correct, we're so right, and like there's no point in taking our opposition seriously whatsoever. And like that certainly didn't help anything at all, I'd say. So like it was a type of shutting down the discourse, I'd say, like early on in the 2010s.
No, I think I think I mostly agree with you on that from what I recall of that debate, because I don't remember much of it. I do remember watching it because I was politically involved in 2012, but I don't recall that much. So I know what you're talking about when you talk about the recent video that I did on this topic. I mentioned that in 2008, when it was McCain versus Obama, and you had like these right wing retards who were saying like Obama's a secret Muslim, he's gonna fucking destroy America and all this shit, and McCain had to come out and be like, no, 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 no,
Trump.
no.
Yeah, no, there was a
Obama's a decent man. We just have disagreements on policy, and that's why, by the way, McCain was actually pretty good. It turns out, because that's a pretty decent thing to say about your political opponent. What's happening there is that like both Obama and McCain, they were ultimately aligned on being pro-America, on being like pro-America as the leader of the free world. They were aligned on the various institutions of America being generally good. They just had disagreements on policy. Okay, and when you look at like a lot of the neolibs and the neocons from the 90s and the 2000s, they had disagreements on policy. They didn't have disagreements on what America should be as a nation. What is America? They all agreed on that stuff. What makes MAGA different is that it actually disagrees on what America should be. It's not just disagreements on what policies we should implement within the system. MAGA wants an entirely new system. And by the way, that system that they're tearing down is known as America itself. That's kind of the fucking problem with MAGA.
I think that's sort of where like I do have to disagree, partly because there are a crap ton of different subgroups within MAGA itself right now. Because like on the one hand, you have like the Ben Shapiro's, the sort of old style would we call Ben Shapiro a neocon? I've heard people call him a neocon, but
I mean, kinda. He has some neocon tendencies to him for sure.
Yeah, but like you have this old wing style of the classical Republicans. You have like the way more populist types. You have the now admittedly frightening Nick Fuentes faction. I don't think all of MAGA is like yeah, like I get your idea of like, oh, they want to tear down America. I think there's definitely a subsection that wants that. I just don't think that it's the majority.
Well, here's the thing: even if it's not the majority, if it turns out in the final analysis, if they side with the faction that wants to tear down America, well, then that's where they've thrown their lot in with.
That's true, but I don't think it's happened yet, and I don't think like again, it's 2025 right now. If in 2028 I could be completely proven wrong, but right now I don't see the Trump administration having that big a different idea compared to like the Obama administration, the Bush administration, even the Biden administration. I'd like the idea that America should be the #1 country and world leaders still seems to be mostly a thing with Trump. Like the big thing with Trump right now is like, oh, we gotta should we support NATO? Should we not support NATO? Like he's trying to. It's like a weird back and forth because he's both said no, we need to get them to like we need to like abandon them and make them defend themselves, but then like he will flip flop on that to be like, oh yeah, buy our weapons as well, right?
I understand all that, but the things that you're saying, that is where Trump is breaking with everyone else, right? Because when Trump flip-flops on whether or not America should be part of NATO, I can't think of any president within my lifetime and like for 20 years prior at least that ever said, whether they're Republican or Democrat, that ever said America should leave NATO. Like that's never even been on the table before.
None of the table, and
get rid of birthright citizenship, for example.
Oh, that's true. There are things that he's like, again, there are things that he said that are like, oh, like completely out of the norm. But the question is, what does he do? Like remember in 2017, like once he became president the first time, he was doing something very similar with the express goal of getting our allies to arm up. There's a clip I'm always sharing about like Trump warning our allies about becoming too dependent on Russian oil, and we saw how that went down. So, like, I don't want to say, oh, he's got like the 4D chess going on, but I do think there is at the very least, like maybe I could be completely proven wrong, but I say let him cook. I think he's earned the cooking right now. And if I'm wrong, then yeah, that would suck. And again, I do think we should call that out.
So here's the thing: I think your position made a lot of sense in 2017. I don't think it makes sense right now. I think we've let him cook enough, especially the shit that he's done since 2020. Like, since the election loss, since the attempt to steal the election, and then since the constant doubling down and ratcheting up of things while he was out of office for 4 years, I think we are past the give Trump a chance stage, in my opinion.
I would I would agree. I think if you look through the comments, I was a Nikki Haley supporter, like up until she gave up. But I think we sort of disagree. It's like, and I have left this comment before, and I think that's my second question, if it's okay.
Sure.
Like, like I agree that Trump is like, he would probably do he is capable. Let's say that he's capable of doing a lot of damage to the country. But I think right now that his opposition has proven to be worse. That's my position right now, because
how why do you think so?
So let me ask you, what would you think is the thing that made Trump particularly worse, like the stealing the election?
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Yeah, stealing the election is really fucking bad. Yeah.
Yeah. So, would you agree that the 2016 attempts of people like Nancy Pelosi saying that, the election was hijacked, saying that the election was stolen, all of that was, would you say that was a legal attempt to overthrow the election?
No, I think that was irresponsible rhetoric on the part of Nancy Pelosi. I think Hillary Clinton said something similar at one point, that it was stolen from her. I think that's very irresponsible rhetoric from those people. But it's not this. It's not on the same level of what Trump did with the 7 slates of false electors. It's not the same thing.
I'd agree if I don't think he would have gotten January 6th if not for that rhetoric that came right before it. Like, the whole he's an illegitimate leader, he hijacked the election, he was working with Russia to steal the election, all that stuff. I think that opened the door to Trump's J6 attempt of sneaking in these fake electors to try and find a quote unquote, I'm doing finger quotes, legal way to steal the election.
Here, let me restate this. So it's your opinion, from what I understand, it's your opinion that if you didn't have the irresponsible left-wing Democratic rhetoric in 2016, 2017 about how Trump's not a legitimate president, even though they didn't do anything legal about it, they just kind of said this on like morning news and talk shows and stuff. If we didn't have that, then that means that right-wingers would not have been radicalized to try to actually attempt to steal an election in 2020?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so if I could just jump in here, just as someone who's lived in America and is not a Canadian, right? So I've heard the rhetoric of stolen election since I was born. Like, this isn't a new thing from the right that they accuse the left of stealing the election. They have sayings like, "Oh, look at the comics from like the 80s and the 90s about how the dead vote." Right, and they all vote Democrat, or like the saying by Al Capone, even is like, "Vote early, vote often." Okay, right? This idea that the Democrats steal the elections and they're always stealing the elections is not new. What is new, and what was new about the Trump administration, is that they normalized, justified, and took a hold of that that paranoia that's always been on the right. And they tried to gin it up into a reason to actually overthrow the government and overthrow the election.
They also got unfettered access to the voting machines in 2020, which they could have used in 2024 to do weird stuff. Just
concerning.
So I'm not saying that it was right, but Wick, wouldn't you say that the Democrats what was the reason behind comments like the election was hijacked or the election was stolen? Like,
they were speaking. They were speaking towards when it came to when the Democrats said it. They were speaking towards Russian election interference, and what they meant by that wasn't that Russia changed the votes. Is what they meant by that, and what has since been proven to be the case, is that Russia was trying to sway the population in order to vote more right wing and away from Hillary Clinton, because Putin hated Hillary Clinton and wanted her to embarrass her and her to lose, and that's just true. That just happened.
Russia interfering, absolutely true.
Yeah.
The issue is that one, they didn't have evidence as to what extent that actually affected the election results, and two, again, they were saying this before the evidence had even fully come out yet.
Well,
So
we
what is
had the evidence quite early. Like we saw this happening in real time. But when it comes
the
to like
evidence of
whether it substantively affected the outcome of the election, that's an open question. That's fair. But and I'm not here saying that that was responsible rhetoric by the Democrats. But
yeah, so that's
there's a real quick, right? If I may finish, like
sorry.
this is something that Trump administration will do all the time. Is that they will take something that's questionable that the Democrats have done, and again, not saying Democrats are perfect, and he will use it to justify legitimately and substantively worse actions. So, like, yes, this thing that the Democrats did was irresponsible, but then he used that as justification to do something that was not only irresponsible, but illegal, immoral, and just un-American.
So, again, I don't disagree. The issue is, and like my point is, it was the Democrats that opened the door to that. Like,
well, no,
I think,
it didn't. They didn't open the door to that. That it's like me saying, if I cut you off in traffic, and then you come out and you shoot me, did I open the door to being shot? Technically,
it kind of counts,
but that doesn't matter because one action is just substantively worse.
Again, I don't disagree that it was worse.
And it's let me try it this way. It's an unreasonable reaction. The right reaction
again,
was an
I agree that
unreasonable
it's unreasonable.
and really, again, unreasonable and unjustifiable reaction to something that should not have, under normal circumstances, opened this door. Like, it's not opening
again,
the door
fact
to
is-
getting raped if you're wearing a short skirt.
Again, I'm not disagreeing, but the problem is, like, here's like for example, summer of 2020, all the riots. I remember I've always heard this point, right? Democrats condemn the violence. Democrats condemn the violence. Can you name me one Democrat that said Black Lives Matter needs to stop?
What do you mean? Stop what?
BLM needs to stop rioting. Can you tell me?
Yeah, sure. Biden
said that.
Yeah.
Joe Biden.
He said that in 2021, after he took office, and that he was.
No, he said it
specifically asked
before.
about
That's
it.
why he.
I'm pretty sure he said it during one of the debates.
Yes.
One of the 2020 debates.
Yes.
So the writing has to stop.
Yeah, that's
He almost
why
said
a
the
lot of
same thing, I
moderates
think.
went towards him because they wanted to moderate their positions and they didn't like the excesses of BLM and these other activist groups. And so Biden was chosen in the primaries in order to act. That's why a lot of people hated Biden, right? A lot of leftists hated Biden.
I agree. Yeah, so I agree that there was Biden was the normie candidate. I don't hate Biden. I think he did. Okay, his foreign policy absolutely sucked, but I think he overall.
Yeah, he said it on
way
August
better than I was
30th,
expecting.
2020.
He said specifically that Black Lives Matter needed to stop.
The rioting needs to stop, and they need to stop
rioting.
those things. I don't know if he used those specific exact BLM needs
Like
to
the
stop.
implication of that would be that Black Lives Matter as an organization was organizing riots specifically, which I don't think was supported, and I don't think Biden would say that reasonably so.
But he did say that the rioting.
Also,
needed
did
to
Trump
stop
ever
and-
say the exact words the Proud Boys need to stop?
Yeah.
Or the Oath Keepers?
He had said right.
Yeah,
after
he
the
said stand back and stand by.
And then they still
Let's not dogpile him, okay? There's like 5 of us here who agree or something.
Let me add him.
It's okay. I don't. But so. Oh, great. Dogpile more. I lost my train of thought. Maybe I'll find it again. So, but yeah, I'm not saying that Democrats are necessarily what would be the appropriate word here? I don't think they necessarily intend. Let's say I don't think they intended to make it worse, right? I don't think they're I don't like the type of blame game you do see in some more conservative angles. Is it John Doyle that likes to say oh they're doing this because they want to sacrifice babies to Moloch? Was that John Doyle? I used to watch.
I have no idea.
But
Someone said that about me yesterday, so that's funny actually.
Yeah, I know this level of more extreme right wingers exist, and I don't like that. But I feel like there's at the very least there's an air of refusing to acknowledge that hey, our side completely screwed up. I think that's at least needs to be addressed.
Here. So here's the thing, right? I can definitely point to instances where Democrats or liberals or people on the left or whatever did a thing And they shouldn't have done that thing. And then right wingers turned around and used that as justification to do the thing but worse. And we can definitely look at the people who did it first and say, listen, you just gave them the perfect excuse. You shouldn't have done that. And that's all true and that's all fair. But at the same time, right wing people are still people, they're still human. They still have a level of moral responsibility, and we still can hold them accountable for their actions. So even when a right winger does something bad and then says, you know what, somebody else did it first, even if that's true, we can still blame the right winger for the bad thing that he did because it is bad.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing and like calling them out, right? Like, I just don't see it right now as like that the right is currently worse yet. I don't see that yet.
Okay.
Why?
Well, it sounds like you when Dev earlier talked about MAGA, kind of like there being some people who are maybe not. I think Dev said something to this effect that there's like there's a lot of MAGA that's like really actively trying to do some pretty scary stuff, and there's a lot of people who just follow it and who are just Trump supporters who are just kind of like being taken for a ride. It sounds like you're in that coalition.
I'm not like scary stuff such as like you got to give me examples.
Like trying to reshape the federal government in Trump's image, basically, to give him as much power as he wants to do whatever he wants.
Stealing election, maybe? That's a big one.
Stealing the election was pretty bad, but I will say Trump did come out and condemn that. Just saying. He did say, hey, that was bad. Remember, right after January 6th, he was saying, hey, white supremacists overthrowing the government, not good.
When did he say this? Like, do you know?
I believe that was, I think it was January 12th. Like, because he said some things the very same day, and then the following week he was still condemning.
You realize he pardoned all these people, like all of them.
But hey, it was right after who pardoned how many people? Like, I'm sorry, that sounded mean, but it was right after. Again, like it's an example of
less than 1,200, and none of whom stormed the Capitol.
So here, real quick, I think I know what you're talking about. There was a short video that Trump recorded, and his daughter was there, and it was from the White House. But I know what you're talking about. In this video, Trump didn't want to say that he had lost, and he was arguing with the person who was holding the camera. Like, I know what you're talking about.
Again, Trump should have admitted. He absolutely should have admitted that he lost. But
here, hold on, just real quick. All right, so I'm gonna once again shill myself. Okay, have you watched my 4-hour video on the election fraud scheme?
The January 6th video?
Yes.
Yeah. I left a comment like explaining like my whole I think this was really bad. I don't think he should have won the 2024 election. But like compared to a lot of the stuff that Kamala Harris had done and said, compared to a lot of the stuff Democrats in general have said, and a lot of Democrat supporters have said, I just think that right now.
Hold on, what is something that Kamala Harris has said that you find worse than Trump?
She linked the GoFundMe to help people who attack federal buildings.
That's not what that was for.
Yeah. It was the bail fund, right? And by the way, I disagree with that too. I think she shouldn't have done that. I agree with you. Like that shouldn't have happened. But like,
it wasn't for rioters, right? She wasn't like the bail fund wasn't for people who rioted. The bail fund was for protesters.
Wait,
who were
Dev,
arrested.
Dev, are you against bail? Are you like pro cashless bail or something?
Yeah.
No, I just think that it was responsible of her to link that at that time. And also, I do think that even though the intention was not to give it to rioters, I'm sure some rioters got some of that money. I don't think that's more. I think. Hold on. I think if we're talking about a political leader, when it comes to a situation like that, they have a responsibility to do what Biden did. And Biden said everyone needs to stop this shit right now, and not implicitly side with one of the sides in that conflict by for example, linking a bail fund. So I disagree with that action. But
Biden supported Black Lives Matter.
Okay, hold on though, because even though I disagree with this action, there's no way that action I clearly think it's worse than you guys do. Fine. But there's no way that action is anywhere near the level of trying to steal the 2020 election. Like these are not on the same level.
So I'd agree if it hadn't been for people who had been attacking federal buildings and calling, like the mayor of Portland himself was saying that federal forces in Portland were occupiers, and there was zero condemnation of that.
Like,
And I know the whole Chaz story, and trust me, again, Chaz is one of those things where left wingers in America are either ignorant or they're just wrong about it. Because Chaz was a lot worse than people tend to give it credit for. Chaz was bad, but like just because Chaz happened doesn't mean that you're justified in doing something worse.
I agree. You shouldn't do something worse. But I'm saying I think the damage of attacking federal buildings and declaring a separatist state on American soil is at the very least on par. Because, like, okay, if the Democrats had like come out and like condemned this, like say, hey, mayor of Seattle, maybe don't do that. Hey, mayor of Portland, maybe don't go to the front of a bunch of rioters and try to attack a federal courthouse and then get pepper sprayed. Then hey, I'd even say, hey, maybe I should have voted for the Democrats after that, but they didn't. That's my problem.
Well, okay.
Yo, hey D, there was a shooting at the CDC HQ this year. Did we hear anything about that at all?
The CDC,
like some anti-vaxxer who thought that like COVID lockdowns are bullshit and Fauci was lying to us all and fucked up his whole life.
When was this? This was this year.
Hold on.
Yeah,
August
it was like 6 months.
2025. Man who fired hundreds of rounds at the CDC HQ was angry at COVID vaccines.
Okay, that's pretty horrible.
Okay, why you didn't hear about that until right now? But you know about all of the other sides' violence. Curious.
No, I'm aware of like a bunch of the right-wing violence, like the assassination of the Tennessee representatives. I'm not sure if it was confirmed that the guy was a Republican.
It wasn't
or not,
Tennessee representatives, but yeah.
Was it Minnesota?
Minnesota, yeah.
Minnesota. Oh my goodness, yeah.
Different.
He was an anti-abortion, anti-LGBTQ activist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever state with all the N's in it. Okay.
Unfortunate. Yeah, but like I'm aware that there is. There is right-wing violence. Like that's bad. The problem I'm seeing is that I don't know if you've talked about like the fact that like at least in the U.S. left-wing terrorist attacks have like surpassed right-wing terrorist attacks for the first time in 30 years, and
that's incorrect.
Is incorrect.
Yeah, that's incorrect. So left-wing violence has doubled from 20% to like 40%, but they still have not surpassed the number of right-wing violence.
Okay, this is a rabbit hole that WYUK is not prepared to go down today because I have looked into the official data. There are some problems with it for sure.
Okay, yeah, that seems like a whole ass other topic. Okay, and we don't have all night because guess what, gang? You guys have not reached the goal of $100.
Listen, I told you, WYUK. Just because I have a lot of subs on YouTube doesn't mean I'm a big draw anymore.
You're fine. I mean, I made decent money, and Dev, hold on, just real quick, Dev. I want to make this very clear. I want to say this publicly, right? I don't give a shit how many followers you have. I think you're interesting, and so I platform you. That's it.
Well, thank you very much.
Now, if a lot of people want to give me money, I'll still take it, right? But.
But no, so like if the worst things you can think of are the Kamala Harris bail fund retweet and Chaz, which I agree with you, these guys don't, but I agree with you, both of those are bad. They're still not on the level of January 6th.
What would have to be on the level of January 6th? Like another attempt at stealing the election?
Yeah.
Like violent?
Yeah.
I still
That would be a good example.
Yeah, no, like that's why I pointed out like the whole hijacking language and the attempts at like impeaching Trump and again, had this not happened, I think that had this not happened and January 6th still happened, I feel we'd be having a very different conversation.
So if the impeachment attempts didn't happen and if the rhetoric from Hillary Clinton or Nancy Pelosi after the 2016 election didn't happen, if the Democrats did things perfectly, basically
not perfectly,
if they made way less missteps then, and then at that point you think that the Republicans wouldn't have had the justification to do what they did?
It's not that it's a justification, it's that this has been normalized now, unfortunately, and I think they opened the door to normalize it.
Well, I think he was successfully impeached, and it was proper to do so. So I think why was that successfully impeached, and it was proper to do so.
Which time? The first time or the second time? Both times?
Both.
I think the first time was like a horrible idea because there was no crime. It was you misallocated the congressionally approved aid, but then it was like uh, Biden did that. Biden did that twice, and there was like no reaction. So
Wait, did he?
I'm
I
not
don't know the
sure.
story.
Not sure about that.
He worked
Wait, if you're
to
not sure, why did you say it? Okay.
No, I didn't say I'm not sure. I said he did it the first.
I did.
The second time was with Israel when he stopped like the congressionally approved weapons aid until Israel like chilled out a bit, which I'd say is fair. But like the reaction from Democrats was, yeah, that's fair. And I'm like, wait, you impeached Trump over this? Like, come on.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know enough about these cases to really chime in on it. I just don't know. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, that's why
It's possible, but maybe I should look into it. Yeah.
You should move down here then. No, like again, I don't. I don't want to like say,
Here,
oh yeah, you're
here.
bad.
Listen,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna fill you in on something, okay? Because I didn't like Kamala Harris either. If the
Yeah, no,
American election had been Kamala Harris versus Nikki Haley and MAGA was just swept away as they should have been in 2020 after 2020, I probably would have supported Nikki Haley. I'm much more of I'm closer to the neocons than I am the progressives. Like I do not like socialism whatsoever. Progressives
Based.
leave a bad taste in my
Yeah, me.
mouth. There's a
Based.
lot of fucking problems. But you know what?
Yeah.
I am here 100% for the neoliberal establishment. Fuck yeah, I'm on board. All right? But here.
Like,
I want to lay something out to you, all right? Kamala Harris had real scandals, actual problems, and right wingers never spoke about them because they just weren't sexy enough. They weren't mimetic enough. All right. It's very easy to talk about a retweet that everyone saw back during the 2020 riots because everyone saw it. It was on Twitter. But like, there are actual things she did wrong that the right just doesn't fucking know about and doesn't care about because the right
can you give
doesn't
me an
actually
example?
care about finding out people's fucking records. They care about what looks good.
Wait,
like
so
what,
like,
though?
hold on, wait, let me take a quick shot in the dark. Like the disobeying the Supreme Court in 2011
What do you mean by that?
when the Supreme Court had told her that, hey, you can't give out like this degree of minimal sentences to like marijuana users or something like that, and she kind of just sidestepped it when she was like Attorney General.
Oh man, I've heard of this, but I don't know the truth of it. I don't know what actually happened in that, but I have heard of this before.
Yeah, like, that's
If
why.
true, that's obviously bad. But I wasn't thinking of that. No, I was
Oh,
thinking of more like the fucking Treasure Island scandal that her and Gavin Newsom were involved in back in the 2000s. Like there's real questions happening there. And by the way, right wingers don't know about that because I don't think right wingers care about procedure all that much.
I mean, well, okay. To be fair, I'm in my own little right wing bubble of like Ben Shapiro and like more like moderate conservatives. So
You
they
should
do
get out
bring
of
it
your
up.
bubbles, gang. So this is to the left wingers and to the right wingers. Find someone on the opposite end and that you think is an honest actor or might be an honest actor and watch them.
I can TLDR it for you in like 2 minutes. I haven't looked into this since the 2024 election, so I'm going off of memory. But there was a couple of locations in San Francisco back in the 90s and or 2000s when Kamala Harris was district attorney and Gavin Newsom was mayor of San Francisco. And one of them was Treasure Island, which is an island in the Bay. And basically, I think from the 1950s up until the 1990s, it was owned by the U.S. Navy, and actually they moved nuclear weapons through that location when they went to go test them out in the Pacific Ocean. So there was nuclear weapons stored in this location. Eventually, the land gets given back to the city. Gavin Newsom makes it a cornerstone of him being mayor to develop this land and build a bunch of like basically low income housing on this land. And that's what they did. And there was a cleanup operation. There was a cleanup operation to clean up whatever nuclear waste remained on Treasure Island. And apparently the operation was not really done all that well. However, there wasn't much oversight with whatever company they hired to do this operation. And there's decent evidence that Gavin Newsom either knew or was he purposely decided not to look into it. Like he kept himself in the dark purposely to avoid any possible scandals and just get the building permits to keep going. There was a report that went to Kamala Harris's office that there were problems with the cleanup operations, and her office did not act on these reports. It turns out these building projects go up, and by the 2010s, you have a bunch of poor people living in these housing projects that are getting radiation sickness. All right. And at this point, both of these people have moved on from their careers. And it's like, okay, well, how much did they know? How much are these people and their offices and their positions responsible for what happened with these people who now have to suffer from radiation sickness? But here's the thing: this is a relatively complicated story, and it might not be the case that they're fully guilty of something. It at least looks bad, but there needs to be more investigations. But you know what? It's my experience that right wingers don't want to dig this much into things. They want stuff that goes viral on Twitter. They don't want to actually look into it like a reasonably serious case like this.
Like that's not wrong, right? But at the same time, I do think like that's something both sides will do, right? Like I don't think the leftist like Democrats are particularly much better at it.
Well, it would be like personally damning if they had this information. Although, from what I mean, I think that's the
Also,
and I think Dev kind of landed on this. It doesn't seem like we have like strong evidence that they actually were aware that there is a cover up, as it were. But
yeah,
it's
like
interesting.
So here's the extent of the evidence, right? Is that one, Kamala Harris's ex-partner and still good friend owned the construction company that was tapped to build the apartment complexes. So there's like a personal motive involved for kind of keeping this project running. And two, we do know that there was a report that perhaps the cleanup company did not do the greatest of jobs, and that report did make it to Kamala Harris's office. We don't know if she read it personally, but what we do know is that her office didn't act on it.
yeah. So like that. Okay, so as an American, that sounds a bit too complicated to put like on a newspaper.
It was not
clickbait
mimetic
title.
enough, right? It
Yeah,
wasn't.
exactly. It's like it's a lot easier to say, hey, Kamala Harris tried to bail out rioters that attacked a federal building than to say, so Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom maybe didn't know about how screwed up this housing development project they were doing. Maybe.
Yeah,
But
it's one of those things.
but
Okay.
but to throw them to throw them a quick bone, I do like I don't disagree that the right prefers to quickly latch onto like the more mimetic stories. Like right now with the Charlie Kirk shooting, or like how quickly did people latch out onto like the Crowder report of like, oh my gosh, they found out all these things, and like I think one of the leaks was kind of true. Was it? Were any true of like the Crowder
Which
leaks?
thinks about what? Sorry.
This remember when Charlie Kirk got assassinated and Steven Crowder came out saying like that he had a leaked report about like how they found like all these different pieces of evidence that
It wasn't the
like,
Steven Crowder. It was Candace Owens. Who's
Was
a
it?
I think it was
crazy
all
person.
bullshit, wasn't it? I think it was just them trying to get views.
I'm not
I
sure.
think the only thing
I'd have to know what you'd have to link me to what you're talking about. But I do
was
want to really quickly, gang, we do have to go soon, so I want to like wrap this
Okay.
up.
Yeah.
and-
Well, then let me quickly finish this up, okay? Because I know that we're all dogpiling you, and I know that like you're the only right winger here, and I
No, this is
don't want
fun.
you to feel I don't want you to feel bullied or anything. And here's the thing: like I'm not as left wing as Radical Coder or some other people, right? Who have been on the stream today. So like I just want you to know that like even if we like give the right wing the maximum possible benefit of the doubt without violating the truth, they still don't come out on top. And if you claim to have watched my 4-hour J6 video, I hope at least some of that stuck, because man, like here I gave you what I believe to be the worst thing Kamala Harris has ever done in her entire career, and it was the Treasure Island scandal. Okay, and for as bad as like the worst part of that, like the most sensationalistic worst part of that scandal is underneath the walkway into an apartment building, they found a basketball-sized irradiated object that was giving every single person who went into that building radiation sickness. Like, that's bad, okay? That might even be presidential disqualifying bad, depending on how far you want to take it. But you cannot say it's the same thing as this huge coordinated plot to get 7 full slates of false electors from a whole bunch, like with a whole bunch of different moving parts. All these different people are involved. All these people are psyoped into believing a completely false narrative of reality, and then to try and go and steal an election, right? Like, these are both bad things. We can condemn both of them. We can even say that Kamala Harris shouldn't have been president. But like, what Trump has done to America is on another level. It just is. Like, that's just where the truth lies, man.
Okay.
So the I'll
last
like,
word, and then we're gonna get to closing. Closing.
Okay,
thoughts.
yeah. So, like I think my point of disagreement is that at the end of the day, J6 failed if the story of Kamala Harris is true, right? Like, and she did know about that, that'd be irradiated families, dead people. And it's not like there weren't casualties to J6, but the issue is that, like, at the end of the day, what really changed? Like, the real change was that we actually got a law, like, clarifying, hey, the vice president can't just say, no, the election is stopped. Like, we got a law about that, so that's about it. Like, the worst.
No. What really changed is that half the country doesn't believe in reality anymore. That's far worse than any one individual death.
Okay, but keep in mind, from 2016 to 2020, the Democrats had the same issue, right? Like, they were
Not
saying
nearly
that,
as bad. Like, not nearly as bad. No.
like,
It's
I don't know,
it's
they were
just not,
attacking
man.
federal buildings. Like, they were attacking federal buildings. They were attacking police officers. There were multiple attacks on ICE facilities. That's happening again right now. I
Listen,
I don't know.
listen. I remember all the bullshit. I remember all the right wing bullshit. I remember the Covington kids. I remember that one dude who threw like a fucking Molotov at an ICE car, like, and then he got shot outside of the gate. I remember all these stories, man. I remember all of them. I remember everything that the right wing was saying. I remember all the stuff the leftists have forgot. I remember all of it. It's not as bad as what Trump has done. Like there is no old story you can pull out that will surprise you. I remember all of them, and it's still not as bad.
Okay. We gotta.
I'm sorry for going so hard, man.
You're fine.
That's okay.
We gotta
Go harder
cut.
next
We
time.
gotta cut
Yeah.
it somewhere.
Wait,
So
can I ask just one question to Dev?
What's up?
I'm just wondering, what do you think about people comparing Pierre Poilievre to Trump, calling him fascist and everything?
I think it's a really easy way to get clicks in English-speaking non-American countries to compare their right-wing populist leader to Trump, but it never actually maps on one-to-one. Pierre Poilievre is nothing like Trump. Boris Johnson was nothing like Trump, except for the fact that they both have yellow hair. Like, the different political situations in different countries have different contexts with different people. You can't simply say this is this country's Trump. It doesn't work. It's a lazy way to do journalism. It's a lazy way to do activism. It just doesn't make any fucking sense.
Definitely.
okay, I love you guys, and I'll see you guys later. Tell Sidekick Cat that this is a hate raid.
No, wait, Wick. 15 seconds. I just realized something. By the way, I saw a whole bunch of people in the chat who I banned from my channel either months or years ago, and they were all talking shit about how much all the things I was saying was wrong and how I was fake and gay and all this shit. I even said in the chat, I typed in the chat, hey, come on into Discord. I'll talk to you directly. None of you fucks did it. You were all spineless, cowardly cucks. None of you even fucking stepped up. Fuck you. It was a good thing that I banned you.
Okay, and on that note, bye.